Beneath the city of tomorrow lies a sprawling and complex series of tunnels and caverns where only the most desperate and depraved wander. Gangers, thieves, smugglers, and mercenaries are just a few of the professions you'll find down here. A lawless society out of reach of the stern fist of the Iron Assembly. This place is known as the Pits. A dangerous and unpredictable underbelly of Rathe, where only those with cunning and wits can survive. Alliances are made and broken in an instant, and violence is always just around the corner. It is here that three unique individuals find themselves inside these dark caverns. You had all received word that the owner of Blackjack's Tavern, known as Greenbird, was looking for some mercs to undergo a very special contract for a particular client. So far, none of those who had applied for the job have been accepted. It seems whatever this job is, Greenbird is very picky with who they choose. The cavern air is unusually still tonight. The regular foot traffic around the wharf has eased to a slow trickle, but all else remains as it should be. Dishevelled workers continue their duties of maintaining their small boats. Mercs glance at you with either caution or brashness in their eyes. Squeakers keeping to the sides of the alleys doing their best to avoid conflict. Towards the end of the wharf comes a cacophony of noise as you approach. A two-story building with a peaked roof. Crude steam tech lanterns light its entrance. A few figures talking in front as a warm glow peeks through the windows. A carved wooden sign above the door reveals your destination, Blackjack's Tavern. Now, there is only one person who is walking towards Blackjack's at the moment. Bill, would you like to describe Honor?
Absolutely. So Anna is a very sort of meek-looking individual, like kind of not like tall, but still physically sort of impressive. Has a decent amount of like decently adorned armor, as well as some cloth robes underneath, all with sort of different ornamentations that you would find on stuff that you would find within Solana. So a lot of light imagery, a lot of like sort of flowy, sort of, as I say, adornments and whatever, but not very calm or collected, like very nervous sort of thing, especially in this sort of area. Looks super out of place. In Anna's hand is this very sort of rusted, very tarnished sterling silver box. And he sort of keeps kind of glancing to it, but still keeps it close and by his side. And he's he looks very much like a holy person in an unholy place, but still presses on.
All right. So, as you approach Blackjack's Tavern, you can see currently that there are two figures in front of the tavern. They are very large, each easily above 6 foot. You see that they're wearing rough leathers. One of them is built like a brick, skin ashen and chalky with a wide jaw and deep set eyes. You can see that he carries a baseball bat studded with nails, and you see chunks of hair still caught in the bits of metal. The other one is slightly shorter, and you can see that he has thin, greasy hair, a thick mustache, and crooked teeth. He carries a machete and has short sleeves, which you can see reveal a tattoo inked on his upper arm. What do you do?
Anna sort of walks up kind of sheepishly to the individuals and sort of, again, holding this sterling silver box close, but almost kind of pulling away from it at the same time. Almost like it's making a shriek, shrilling noise. Like that's sort of the look on Anna's face. And says, hey, God, okay. Hi. I'm looking for Greenbird.
You see one of them, the one that's sort of built more like a brick with a very wide jaw. He said, I haven't seen you around here before. What's your business?
I'm here for honestly I don't know, but I'm here and I need to speak to someone named, I believe, Greenbird. Does that ring a bell? Are you Greenbird?
You see this this really large figure sort of give more of a childish laugh than you were expecting from him. You watch as he spits this hunk of almost like mucus out. That ain't me, I can tell you that. Alright, head on in. Don't cause any trouble. And he steps aside and the other one steps aside as they give you access to the front door. Alright.
So very sheepishly push my way through.
So, the door swings open as you enter the tavern. Upon entering, you are immediately hit with a medley of sound and smell. Mildewed wood soaked with alcohol and freshly cooked stews bring a strong yet comforting atmosphere to the cold rock walls of the pits. Rowdy patrons loudly yell both friendly and aggressive remarks to one another, whilst the more intense sit in silence, quietly eyeing up their competition. A woman at the bar quickly grabs bottles from the shelf behind her, dumping their contents into mugs before sliding them down to the other end of the table to waiting customers. You can see on one of the walls near the bar is a large board filled to the brim with various tatters of paper, a bounty board, if you will. What do you do?
I feel drawn towards the bounty board, so I definitely have to go check that out and peruse to see if there's see if my task is posted there.
Sure. So as you begin to push your way through the fairly crowded tavern, you are getting a lot of very weird looks at the moment. You are most definitely out of place. Most of these individuals have probably never seen anyone from Solana before, nor anyone this clean as well.
I am doing my absolute best to avoid eye contact.
Yes, and you do get a few stern grunts as you sort of politely nudge your way through the crowd, making your way to the bounty board. You can see now that the bounty board is absolutely littered with just pieces of paper. You see a few contract cards. It is a smorgasbord of just text. Is there anything in particular that you're going to try and make out on this board? Or are you just going to look at the first piece of paper you see?
Well, I need to definitely get my bearings, and the amount of people and noises and smells has definitely caught me off guard. So what I'm looking for is I'm looking for a specific contract on an individual from Metrics. Looking for, and like as I'm trying to sort of piece it together in my mind, I start to have a conversation with my box.
Okay.
Just sort of whisper to it, like really hurriedly and hushedly.
Okay. In a weird way, your box seems to understand that you are talking to it. Which is very odd to say, because if you were to talk to an inanimate object, you would feel like you're talking to a brick wall, but this feels less like that. It feels more personable.
Do other people see him talking to this box?
He was already receiving some very weird looks. If you want, Honor, you may roll an insight check to sort of glean the general vibe that you're receiving at the moment.
I will absolutely do that. Okay, so my insight, I have +5 to insight.
Yep.
Thankfully, I'm
good.
Nervous but insightful. That is a 21.
Wow. Okay. It's almost a little bit without music or talk stopping. It's like those situations where you would see in an old, like, Western movie where music's playing and everyone's chatting, and then suddenly the door bursts open and everything goes silent. It is the equivalent of that without going silent. You have you have definitely caught the eye of many people. And even though to most normal people you talking to a box very nervously would seem weird, it couldn't get any weirder than this.
Okay.
Brilliant.
So as I talk to my box and keep trying to scan the board for what I'm looking for, the name of the individual that I'm looking for just either isn't jumping out to me, or I can't find it, because obviously, as you said, there's a ton of jobs available.
Yes.
So I think what I need to do now to find my bearings even further is just find someone to talk to. I think I'm gonna go up to the bar and try to speak to the bartender.
It's funny that you should say that, because as you are looking very confused and very awkward within this bar, you hear a woman's voice sort of call out to you from the bar nearby. I can tell a rookie when I see one. Are you looking for something in particular?
Yes, thank you. I'm looking for a contract for a relatively high-level resident of Metrics. Do you happen to know if that's been taken? Because I really, genuinely hope it's not.
High-level resident of Metrics. I do know that there was, I believe, 3 individuals that was scheduled to look for Greenbird, as he had a contract that he was looking to do. You wouldn't happen to be one of them, would you?
Okay, so it was Greenbird. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Are you Greenbird?
Certainly not. I am not as eccentric as he is, but I can definitely take you to him if you'd like.
That would be extremely nice. Thank you.
You do look very awkward in here, darling, I will say.
Yeah. Do you have something to take the edge off, like a tonic water or?
You're really not from around here, are you?
How could you tell?
That's right. I'm sure Greenbird probably has some drink in his office. So you watch as the woman, as she's sort of beginning to walk out from behind the bar. She taps this larger grizzled man with a thick beard and mustache combo, who's picking his teeth with a toothpick behind the bar on a stool. Slaps him on the shoulder, says, "Tag, you're in." And he sort of gets up and grumbles as he makes his way to the bar and begins serving patrons. This woman, who's to describe her, she's a fairly thin woman with black hair that's been tied back into a ponytail, sort of a little bit no nonsense. Looks like she is definitely not afraid to get her hands dirty, especially in this establishment. And she walks out from behind the bar and begins guiding you through the crowd of patrons. Let me just have a look here. She guides you towards a doorway, which is off to the side. And as you walk in, you turn left and ascend a set of wooden stairs that definitely creak under the weight of you and your armor. As you both reach the top, you turn left once more and see a dark wooden door halfway down the short hallway. As you approach with a quick rapping of knuckles on the door, this woman calls out, "Hey Greenbird, got a merc here for you. Here for your special contract, I think." After a few seconds, you hear a metallic clang as a latch on the other side is undone before the door opens slightly with a slight groan. "Bring him in." You watch as this woman pushes into the room and the door swings open further, and you see, standing just off to the side, a very eccentric looking figure. Before you assume is Greenbird, the owner of Blackjack's Tavern, that you've heard some stories about. Dressed in a short sleeve green barmaid's dress and black corset. His broad shoulders giving him a large frame that is both elegant and strong. A mustache ends in a slight twirl above his upper lip. An elegant and rare long feather sits amongst styled dark brown hair. They eye you up sort of a bit waringly before gesturing to one of 3 comfortable seats that is in front of a polished wooden desk.
Are you Greenbird?
I most certainly am. Are you here for the contract, I'm assuming?
Thank you. I'm Anna. I'm Anna. It's nice to meet you.
Your honor or you're honored?
Whichever one you prefer. Thank you.
Right, okay. Sit down.
Perfect. Thank you.
As you
tonic water.
You watch as he sort of ignores you at this point and sort of leans into the woman. Keep an eye out for the other 2 candidates and bring them in once they're here. And you watch as the woman says, "Aye, aye, Captain," sort of jokingly before she walks out the room. Greenbird shuts the door. You watch as they walk over to their chair and they sit down and they pick up a lit cigarette in a long holder from a small stand. You watch with a long drag. They sort of look you up and down. Solana, huh? Long way from home for a merc.
Yeah, as I'm sitting there, I'm like constantly readjusting myself and like, just very sweaty. Yeah, I just I'm on a bit of a mission. And this is just one of the steps of my not plan, but the thing that I have to do. And you know, I am here. I am here to help as best that I possibly can, and so I hope that I can be of assistance to you, Mr. Greenbird.
Most wouldn't be as bold as you to display these vestments down here, but I mean, you've told me your purpose. Can't be anything Soul's concerned with, could it be?
So no, this is purely my own quest, and also I know that wearing these down here paints me as a bit of a target, but I feel like it's better than nothing, which would be my other option. Yes, I'm here to be as helpful as possible and get you what it is that you need, which is a person? A contract?
You watch as they sort of readjust in their chair. Well, I'm not one to turn away someone capable of a high-level contract. But just know this, and you watch as they lean forward a bit with a stern expression, which is, it's quite odd that you feel, I guess, somewhat intimidated by this man essentially wearing drag. If I allow you to take this contract, the contract comes first, not your home. Whether you are truly here of your own accord or as some sick form of pilgrimage, I don't care. But you'd best know where your loyalties lie. Make sense?
Yeah, I sort of start to settle, and sort of a nice, calm sort of washes over my face. I say, I am here to do what I need to do, and if that is serving you, then so be it.
Just how I like it. And you hear, at this point, there's already another knock at the door. Come in, Jamie. You watch as the door swings open, revealing the woman that you had lead you here earlier, Jamie, as you now know their name, and another figure. Please describe your character.
Yeah, so I'm at the door. and I'm clad in these, clad in this sort of leather armor, sword on back, bow on back as well. And yeah, I'm just standing in the door, and I'm looking for Greenbird as well. Where is he? Where's Greenbird?
What does your physical appearance look like?
Oh, he's got long hair. He's about 5'11", and yeah, he's always like sort of brooding. He's at the door, just like, "Where's Greenbird? Show me the contract.
Where is he?"
Where is he? Where are they?
As Greenbird sort of leans back a little bit. A bit more typical of an attire, I see. Is this the Night Stalker in the flesh?
It is, yeah, and I'm here to try and find my brothers, and I know that there's a contract out that you've got, and you need some individuals to deal with it, and wherever this may lead, I think my brothers are going to be there, and I need to accept this contract.
Very well.
I think you need my skills as well. I think you need them.
Oh, I definitely need skills.
I'm gonna try and intimidate him.
Okay. All right. I think depends how you want to come across. So if you want this to be very, very threatening, almost to the point where it's like you must take me, or if you want it to be more persuasive, I'll leave it up to you to decide if you want it to be persuasion or intimidation.
I'll go persuasion. Yeah, I'll try and persuade.
Sure. Go ahead.
Yeah. I roll a 9.
A 9.
Yeah.
You watch as Greenbird takes another long drag of the cigarette before blowing smoke out, almost a little bit towards Honor, which is a little bit disrespectful. We'll see about that. Please, have a seat.
Okay. Who's this guy? Where's he from?
Hello, mate. You alright?
Hi, I'm Anna. It's nice to meet you. And I'm just sort of like holding my box.
Yes. Night
Me
Stalker.
too, I guess.
Meet Honor. Honor, meet Night Stalker. The both of you will hopefully be working alongside one another throughout this contract. Assuming all of you are capable in my eyes, that is.
Are you from Solana?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Ah, okay. Interesting.
I can't tell if you know, but I feel a little bit out of place here.
Brilliant.
Don't worry, I'm here to do some good stuff. Here to find the. I'm still like trying to like glean the information out of Greenbird. The guy, the item.
Once the third one of you arrives, I'll discuss the details of the contract. But Night Stalker, your reputation precedes you. You've got quite a name for yourself down here.
Not that I would like. I'm just trying to find my brothers. And the criminals of this world, they deserve what it is that's coming to them. And yeah, I'm just trying to find them. I need to find them. And I hope you can help me. But wherever this contract might lead is new information for me. So.
Well, I'm not in the business of lost and found, but I definitely do have a contract that requires the utmost care and professional touch, assuming you can provide that.
I can, yeah.
Good. At this point, you hear, once again, another knock at the door. And without even having to say a word, the door opens once more. This time, Jamie presents a new figure. Kel, would you like to describe your character?
Oh yeah, let's do it. So, Villain is standing there. She's the kind of person that, if you didn't know any better, you'd think she would stand out, but she somehow blends perfectly into whatever setting she is in. She has long hair, black as night, pulled back into a ponytail with a long red ribbon tied it. She has red eyes that are quite striking once you finally notice them. She's wearing a half mask, an Oni half mask. Her attire looks like, if you had to guess, that it was from a Mysteria. It's kind of like this kunoichi outfit with bits of metal plating here and there. She kind of gives off a subtle but very threatening aura. Like her eyes basically tell you everything that you need to know. That she is no stranger to death and dealing death, and she just kind of moves very fluidly, quickly and fluidly. When she moves, is like that of water. So, and she's standing there. Her outfit is mostly black with accents of red and a little bit of gold here and there. The fabric on it is very fine, and it looks like you describe it as like a soft silk.
All right,
That's
nice.
the villain.
At this point, Greenbird. And you! I've heard tales of you. Your prowess makes much more sense now. Your clothing screams Mysteria. Please, have a seat.
Yeah, and she will, as she walks past, she'll just meet eyes with Greenbird and just do a little nod. And then as she does that, she'll catch gaze with Azra and Bill, what's your character's name again? Anna. And then as she looks at Azra, she does just kind of the slightest nod of acknowledgement of knowing who this person is. But when she catches gaze at Anna, her one of her eyebrows raises very slightly in subtle confusion and like, well, this is interesting. And then she sits down.
Brilliant.
At this point, Greenbird, taking a final drag of the cigarette that they have in a long holder, taps it out in a cigarette ashtray. Well, now that I have all of you, here's what I've got for you. It's not your ordinary job, and I expect professionalism throughout. Greenbird did not stutter, that was me. The client is putting up a high price for this, and I ain't about to put my fucking head on the line for it. You watch as Greenbird produces a contract card and places it on the table in front of all of you. Now, Azra and Villain, you are somewhat familiar to an extent with contract cards. Oh no, this is the first time you have seen a contract card. You've got an action card in front of you. Is it 3 of a kind?
Brilliant.
No, it's a Codex of Frailty.
Oh, it is a contract card, technically, I guess.
Yeah.
Perfect. It is very reminiscent of a playing card. And you see that this particular card has a sketch of a heavily armored metal door that seems to have like a series of locks and mechanisms to keep it in place. And you see written below the sketch, below a line, says 2 words: test subject. My client has a particular need for a individual kept within the confines of the asylum, within the pits. They did not specify a name or description of this individual. All I know is that their patient number is 1623. The client claims that it should be easy enough to identify the test subject upon finding their chambers within the asylum. Why they are vague on the details beats me. All I know is he is paying a good fucking pouch of talics to those who can retrieve them. Said it should be obvious as to why once you find the test subject. You watch as Greenbird then slides another contract card across the table. This one with a sketch of a hand outstretched, the words retrieve written below. You've got another card.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So both Azra and Villain, you see Honor just sort of willy-nilly sort of picking up the contract cards before you even really have a chance to look it over, and is very confusedly reading, not reading much on the card other than the fact that it has an image and a single word. So this one has a sketch of a hand outstretched and the word retrieve written below. Finding the test subject should be the easy part. Now, here's the hard part. And you watch as he slides a final card across the table. Please tell me you've got another card.
Yeah.
Perfect. I love it.
Well,
I was ready.
Oh, wow. Okay. He slides a final card across the table. This one with a sketch of a heart. An anatomically correct heart. Alive. I've been warned that the subject is known to be potentially erratic in behavior. Expect possible resistance when removing them from the asylum, from both the subject and the personnel at the facility. They won't take too kindly to people stealing their precious study toys. As for the asylum, well, I'm sure at least one of you knows it. And at this point, they pull a drawer out from the desk, and after rummaging through, hearing some paper shuffling, they take out a rolled up piece of paper, and they hold it outstretched to the group. Who takes it?
Villain will take it, but not before glancing at the heart, the live card, and doing the slightest sigh. She's just like, and when she makes sound or when she talks, you notice that there's kind of this weird sound to it. You can't quite place it. It just feels just a little bit off. You can't place it. But she'll take the paper.
Okay. Greenbird says, Southmaw, do you have a map? There's no way you have a map, Bill. Okay, it's just a piece of paper. Okay.
oh my god.
Southmaw, the home of one Dr. Crest Mortimer. A boogeyman in the pits. Falling into his care of his facility is not something I'd wish on my worst enemies. A pursuer of knowledge, he prods at his test subjects without a care for morality. Pardon my Solanian honor, a sick fuck if you will. Now, should you fail this mission, be thankful if all that happens is losing your life. They'll be more than happy to take any of you alive, but you won't be as such. And you watch as he leans back, sort of places his arms folded in front of his chest. Any questions?
Villain will say, I'm familiar with the area. She glances at the other two people next to her. As far as the pits goes, not a kind place. She just kind of like gives him a side eye.
And both of you, Azra and Honor, as Villain talks, what sort of voice would they hear from Villain as she talks?
So currently, she is talking with what you could probably describe as a slight Volcorian accent, if you are familiar, if your characters are familiar with the region. She has it's a very soft sounding voice, and fairly direct. When she speaks, it is with no stumbles, or it's very thought out and very like, this is what I'm going to say and this is the point. Though when you can detect a little bit of what's the right way to put it? It's not sarcasm, but it's a little bit of when she says it, it's a little bit of I'm not sure how to put it. Snarkiness, like, I guess you could say.
Yeah, like
condescending.
It's dry. It's a little bit like dry and cutting, I guess you could say. And almost like she like snickers to herself after she says it, but she doesn't actually.
Yes. The voice is a bit different to what you would expect from a woman of her looks.
Yeah. It just sounds a little. You can't quite place it. It just sounds a little off. Like it's hard to pinpoint how or why. So she is speaking completely with the Oni mask on.
Well, Azra, Honor, any questions?
just
I want to know.
have this like this.
I want to know why this person is keeping test subjects, and does he have any more test subjects that he might be keeping?
Dr. Mortimer, you mean?
Yeah. Is there a possibility he's going to be keeping more subjects?
For sure. There definitely is. It sounds as if you are not too familiar with Southmaw, but that's probably for the better. Southmaw Asylum is very renowned within the pits. Dr. Mortimer is the director and head of Southmaw, and he has been known to accept patients without their consent of being accepted into the asylum. As I said before, a very sick and depraved individual that is definitely not above ethics. So you definitely may find some additional test subjects within the asylum, but there is only one that you need to get. And I'm assuming Honor still has the contract cards at this point.
Yeah.
Honor, turn around.
I'm still like, I'm holding the box and I'm still just like.
You turn around the one that says test subject, and on the back you can see that the number 1623 is scribbled on the back as a reminder for the patient number that you are after.
And as I'm looking at it, I just like hold it over to Azra and to Villain, just like, hey, look at that.
Villain, do you open the scroll of paper that you have?
Yeah, I'm gonna. How big is the scroll? Is it just kind of like a standard rolled up scroll? Can Villain open it kind of like a, traditional scroll style like that?
It doesn't have the handles, if that's what you're referring to. It's more of just a larger piece of parchment, like what Bill has.
She'll just kind of unfurl it a little bit and then hold it at ends to kind of display it out, and she'll kind of hold it out a little bit so she can read it all at once.
Yep. So you see immediately that this is a map, and you can see that on it, Southmaw is shown. There is not really any detail as to the area in which Southmaw is found. But you do see that there is a route already planned and sort of roughly sketched in to show the quickest way to Southmaw. You do know that obviously within the pits, a lot of things do interconnect, and there are definitely routes that are quicker than others. There will be paths throughout the caverns that may twist and wind and go miles at a time in one direction before circling back. It really depends on where you go. So
from looking at this map, and obviously known the pits quite well, can I identify anything on the map that might be a treacherous path or a silly way to go? Essentially, by looking at this map, would I know that by rolling or something?
So you do know that the area in which Blackjack's Tavern lies, in order to journey to the fastest route through, you will have to cross water.
Okay.
There doesn't seem to be a quick and easy way to get to the section of the large cavern that Blackjack's is in, because the cavern outside of Blackjack's Tavern is very large. It's like a big chasm ravine type situation. So yeah, the quickest way to get to Southmaw would be crossing water for a portion of it.
Okay.
Villain is gonna immediately start committing the route and map to memory. But she doesn't really need to commit the layout of the pits to memory, but she's gonna more or less just kind of like,
The specific route.
mentally track out the route and then run it over through her head and what it looks like and all that kind of stuff. The same thing you would do if you're like just like planning like a day trip out to the store kind of thing. You're like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. She's gonna do that like immediately for this. Yeah.
All right. Any further questions? Honor, I'm assuming you probably have many questions, seeing as the confused look on your face still remains.
So yeah, Anna definitely still looks confused.
Villain,
as I'm about to.
she'll roll up the map real quick and then just offer it to Anna, and she'll be like, "You may need this more than I."
Yeah. So Anna definitely does not look any more well prepared. But yeah, holding the box still, sort of craning his head towards it. He listens for a second. He goes silent, and then just sort of a knowing look sort of washes over, gets a little bit more serious, and just looks at Greenbird and says, "When do we start?"
Right now. Get to it then. My client is getting antsier by the day, and I need them to get off my back. I'm sure you'll find a worker at the docks that will help you traverse the waters.
Villain will say to Greenbird, "Don't worry. As you know, the spider always delivers." And she'll say that as she gets up and heads for the door.
I'm well aware.
Anna gets up, sort of readjusts, and goes, "Thank you, and glory to see you later."
You feel honor as you get up, and the notion of this contract enters your mind. You feel, not quite internally, but externally, you feel this aura of excitement and bloodlust begin to sort of wash over you. It's a very odd feeling that you aren't too unfamiliar with.
Yeah.
Alright, so.
Whew, just has like a little shiver.
So, as all three of you exit Greenbird's office and begin making your way out into the tavern proper, what do you do?
Okay, so out of character, our goals are to infiltrate Southmaw, to find this subject, and then to extricate them alive, right? So that's
that is the goal.
That's our current goal. Okay.
So you do have the 3 physical contract cards as well, which 2 of you and would be more familiar with than the person holding them.
Yeah.
And
Dylan just kind of glance at them.
I got them, and I can describe them to you so well.
and the both of you, Azra and Villain, would be aware that in the pits, contract cards are not specifically locked in to the person that has them. You do know that if they are stolen from you or you die, they can be taken from you and completed before you do. It's whoever cashes them in first. It definitely seems that.
Are we?
Yeah.
Are we walking through the bar, which is chock-a-block full of people, and Bill's got the cards in his hand, like just displaying them to everyone?
You are currently in, like, just entering sort of the tavern itself from where the office is located.
But before we leave, I think Villain will turn around and face Anna and hold her hand out, and she'll say, "I'll take the cards off of you, love." And she'll just kind of hold out.
Yeah, Anna, just give her the cards. We don't want them seen. We don't want anyone else seeing those cards, mate.
But I like the cards. They're cool. It's okay. Hang on. And yeah, so I
know they're cold fools, but just give them over.
I pull it, and I go.
Okay.
So as Anna opens the box, are you trying to hide the contents within specifically?
Yes.
I
Okay.
want to see them.
All right.
As the second he like holds up his box or like picks up the box to put the cards in. First of all, I want to inspect the box. What does the box look like? Like she's just gonna analyze it like the hell out of it.
So at this point, it is visible, the box itself. So Bill, if you'd like to describe what the box is.
So yeah, the box is like a sterling silver box, about sort of this big, and it has sort of a smaller lid than this does, but it's very, very tarnished, like almost black. There's very little of the silver underneath that you can see. It has a couple of scenes from like ancient Solanian myth sort of inscribed into it, and it's very like it has a lot of flowy sort of feel to it. The imagery itself, very much like sort of phantasmal, sort of light oriented. But it also, because it's so sort of tarnished and dark, it has a very off-putting aura to it. But to me, I'm just treating it like it's a box that I like a lot.
So,
just something that's very near and dear to me.
so I'm very intrigued by this box and all of this ornate stuff. And it to villain, it just screams like dark occult. And can I glean any insight from it, perhaps with religion or history or something?
Yeah, if you wanna roll and I guess specify. I guess you can roll
so
and
I
use
can
either your
do-
history and religion. It's very similar in this regard.
Yeah, I mean, for me, they're literally the same. Villain doesn't have a great history or religion.
All right.
She's more of a sneaky, stabby type. All right, so that is a 15. 13 plus 2.
A 15. From Villain's knowledge, I would say that she's definitely aware of, like, the fact that Solana isn't 100% liked everywhere within Rathe. There are definitely some that will criticize the religion. And the depictions on the box, whilst they are very holy in nature, do give off a weird, as Bill described, just an off-putting vibe. They depict the initial sort of discovery of the light, the founding of Solana, some of the ancient battles that were fought against the forces of shadow. It's very, how do I describe it? It's just a very weird religious icon that just doesn't seem 100% nice.
Yeah, it's like one of those really old depictions that you see of religious iconology, where it's like it's a depiction of a battle, but it's really like overly viscerally gory. Like it is just at its face, it seems just like, oh, this is like a nice sort of like still life sort of thing, and then the more you look at it, the more unsettling it gets. And I'm just sort of holding it like this.
Yeah, there are depictions of evil-looking shadowy monsters, but at the same time, the angelic side that sort of is the dichotomy to it on the box, looks as just as awful in a way.
Okay, so Villain will say, as you open up the box, and she's going to try to look inside as well, but she's going to say, "What have we here?"
roll a perception check, Villain, and Honor, roll a sleight of hand check as you quickly try to open and shove these cards inside your box.
Okay. I got a 3 on perception, so let's roll for it. 3. Oh, that's bad. I got an 8.
Okay. So my sleight of hand is -2. I rolled an 11, so that's a 9.
Oh, so close.
Oh.
I rolled a 5. I got a +3 on perception.
Yep. So you see as Honor sort of quickly fumbles to hide the contents of the box, as you do normally have a fairly sharp eye, but just the nervous wreck that is Honor, the fumbling of hands is something that you are not expecting, and you do not catch a glimpse of pretty much anything other than maybe, I guess, hint of like fabric or velvet inside, maybe. That's probably about it.
She'll say, as you do this, she'll say, "Suit yourself. You're an interesting fellow. Just know if you lose those cards, it'll be more than just your head." And then she'll like just turn.
Yeah, don't worry, it's not going anywhere.
All right. So At this point, you
What
guys...
we've seen so far, he's clutching that box pretty tight, so I think we're going to be okay for now.
Internally, villain thinks Anna is more than what he appears.
Yeah.
She has seen more than a few cases of people who seem meek who are quite the opposite. So she's like a little wary of this weird individual.
Brilliant.
All right, so you guys now begin to push into the crowd of the tavern. Where do you guys go from here?
Make our way
So
to the door, I guess.
All right.
Yeah. So it sounds like we need to cross the water. So if I remember right, Blackjack's is kind of on a wharf.
Yes.
Isn't it?
It is.
So Villain and I guess both Azra would both know how to secure passage across and like what the best way to do it. I think they would, or at least Villain would try to find someone who is very discreet. That's kind of like her modus operandi as an assassin. So to find someone who can ferry them across, or they can ferry themselves across, but
Sure.
on the DL.
All right.
Yeah, my parents used to work on the docks, so I've got contacts that are on the docks, but they're more like the standard boat rather than the discreet. So if we were to cross the water on one of those, we would probably be seen like the Cardaverous contraband card, one of those boats you can see in the water.
I guess I should just ask for a world perspective.
Sure.
How often? Because I think people who are native to the pits would know. How often do people cross the water? Is it seen as an everyday thing, the people coming and going, or is it more like, oh, that's weird, why are they doing that?
It's definitely an everyday thing.
Okay.
A lot of the commerce in the pits does rely on trade across the water, because the caverns are quite vast to the point where you can sail literal ships through them. So yeah, it's definitely not uncommon to see ships of all sizes in the water.
Okay.
And you guys definitely would not be the first people to cross the water for a contract. So it wouldn't be seen as like particularly noticeable. I will say, Azra, with your sort of knowledge of the docks in the pits, you are aware of some individuals that specialize in taking people across the water without asking questions. You do remember that there is one very close to Blackjack's that is renowned for being no questions asked, just get you across the water.
Yeah, someone that my parents used to know essentially. So
Yes.
we can get across on one of those trade boats that they used to work on. So we'll be able to go on one of those.
Yeah.
So I know a guy. We can get across the water. We can go unsuspected to a certain degree. It's just going to be a general trip across the water. No sort of weird sort of long boats. Just us three in the boat sailing along. It's going to be a carrier, so we can get across on one of those if everyone's up for that.
Yeah. So the particular boats that can transport like just small groups. You do know of an individual that can do that for you. So it won't be like a big sailboat or anything. It'll be like a smaller rowboat.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. So you all exit the tavern, I'm assuming. All right. So
Yeah, I'm going wherever they're going.
as you all exit Blackjack's tavern, pushing your way past the two guards out front, you are met with much colder air than the inside of the tavern. The tavern was a warm respite for the cold, harsh reality of the pits. So you guys, I'm assuming, make your way towards the docks, Azra sort of leading the way.
Yeah. Leading us to contact.
So you have heard of a individual of some sort a bit further south from Blackjack's that would be able to take you sort of south, because on the map you do see that the particular route that you would have to take across the water does go south. So
Okay.
as you all walk the streets towards the docks, walking through the pits is an uncomfortable experience, even for those of you that are more experienced at it. Regardless of the denizens surrounding you, all eyes seem to trace your movements. Watched. Judged. Squeakers scurry through the shadows of alleyways, potential pickpockets waiting for a moment to snatch their prize from your bags. And sort of beginning to feel this honor, you clutch your box even tighter than before, as you feel that there are more eyes on you now that you're a part of a smaller group. It definitely seems like your presence is known to those watching. As you approach the portion of the docks to the south, you see the occasional figure loading and unloading small rowboats and ships with goods, most of them likely illegal trades from Metrics. Azra, sitting in one of these rowboats with a lit lantern hanging from a small post on its frame, is a man clad in dark robes, and you see that he has a hood over his head as he smokes from a wooden pipe. This would appear to be some sort of individual that you've heard of that would probably get the job done for you.
Okay, fantastic. That's the guy. That's the guy over there. I know, the one with the hood. He's the one who's going to get us across the water. So I guess we would just approach him, approach the individual, hooded individual.
All right. So as you guys approach, you can see now that as you come closer, you can gleam a bit more of the facial features and exactly who this person is. You see that he is maybe about roughly 50 to 60-year-old man with a longer graying beard and a very aged complexion. The years have definitely not been kind to him. And you can see that he's just puffing on a wooden pipe, and he sort of looks up as you approach. Doesn't say anything, just looks at you.
I'm gonna say, hello, mate. Do you remember me? You ferried me across this water before.
You can hear he sort of speaks in this really low, sort of grunting, low effort voice. I remember.
Villain is just gonna let Azra take the lead. She's just gonna stand there with her arms crossed and just kind of like
expectantly at Azra.
Yeah.
like arms crossed, like chin a little bit down, and like her red eyes just staring at this old man.
I'll have Azra, if you wish, to try and remember this individual's name. You can roll a just a general intelligence check if you'd like.
General intelligence, okay, yeah, +1 to a 4, so it's
4.
5. So I don't remember your name. It's been a while, so I can't remember what your name is. But you have put me across these waters before. Bob, is it? Is it Bob? No, it's not. Is it?
He takes a puff of the pipe. Goarin.
Yeah, that was it.
Goarin.
I was close.
Villain will say sarcastically, like under her breath, "Close."
Yeah. That's it. Bob, Goarin, villain understands, you know.
Goarin. Yep.
Yeah. Goarin. So yeah, we really need to get across this lake. I'll make it worth your while if you ferry us across.
He sort of gently nods. Where to?
We're going to Southmaw.
He sort of
Have you heard of that?
looks around. He looks sort of off towards the south, which is the direction that the map shows you. Then he looks back. I can do that. Just 3.
Just 3, yeah. No, we need a space for 1 box as well.
He sort of looks over to Honor and seems to not really care. 5 copper talics each. That'll get you there. Need a return?
Do we need a return? Yes, I'd say
Villain
so.
Villain will say the return will be for 4.
Oh, yeah.
All right. There and back will cost you 1 silver. 2 copper for the wait. He speaks in very, very blunt, short sentences directly to the point, as you have definitely heard before. No nonsense, but not particularly professional. It's very casual, yet just like uncaring. It's like, just get the job done, really.
Yeah.
And we have the funds to
Yes,
pay
yes.
him.
So
Yeah,
you guys
okay.
definitely aren't particularly strapped for cash. But yeah,
Fantastic.
this mission will definitely pay you quite handsomely. So
Money?
Azalea,
You hold money,
Azalea
Bill?
cult token. Brilliant.
Hey,
he's got
I
props.
got props.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Your
To be
product
fair,
placement.
it's a metal resource token, an aim counter from Az, and a 3D printed remorseless reminder.
Nice.
Brilliant.
Just
All right.
Fantastic.
So Gary
Cool, yeah, that's-
has given you the price, and then he just
Cool,
sort of looks.
That villain's not looking to haggle, so she's just gonna immediately look him up and down. Does she think he looks trustworthy? Trustworthy?
Roll an insight
it-
check.
Does this guy look like he's like,
Whoa.
he's like Atreus? All right, let's roll. Ooh, that's not bad. Let me see what my insight is real quick. Oh, there we go. Insight. Oh, actually, my insight bonus is low. So it's just 11.
11. In Villain's world, a man that does not ask many questions is a trustworthy man.
And like that, it's straight to the point. Yeah, she'll just kind of like walk a little bit forward and say, "Agreed."
Yeah.
Okay.
And if he's holding out his hand,
He is holding out a hand at this point.
Yeah.
Sort of.
she'll
I'm still
She'll
just like
reach-
going through my change that I pulled out of my pocket, just getting the right amounts.
she'll
I'm
so she
immediately
has like
trustworthy. I am not in a position to doubt anybody.
Yep.
for folks out there who know what like Asian garments look like a yukata or a kimono or something. She has like this kind of wrap around her that's like kind of tied up, and she's gonna reach into the wrap and pull out a little what looks like a coin purse that's made out of like black silk, and she'll take out the amount and give it to the guy.
He sort of nods as I'm assuming each of you at this point hand a silver talic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who-
Into the
who wishes-
left leather pocket.
Yep.
Into
Who
the
wishes to pay the extra 2 copper for him to wait around for the return?
Villain's paying first, so she'll pay the silver and the 2.
All right.
So
Easy.
she'll just immediately pay. Yeah.
All right. Garion says, all right, hop in. And he sort of shunts aside this this bag of supplies that he has to the side and begins to move into a position where he can begin rowing once you guys have hopped in.
Cool.
All right.
Perfect.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
as
just get right in.
the
As
the
I get into the boat,
yep.
I just look at him and go, "Thanks."
You see that he's just placed his wooden pipe in his mouth and has just continued to puff on it as he sort of begins preparations to set off. You see that the small boat sort of wobbles on the surface as each of you make your way onto the fairly small vessel. There's not much room on here. You could fit probably 5 people maximum on this boat. So with Garion taking it up, one of the spots, that would be 4 spots, which is essentially what you need.
Trip back's going to be packed.
What was that?
Yeah.
The trip back is going to be full.
Oh,
We're
yeah,
gonna have
yeah.
presumably have
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. The intent. Yeah.
Yep. So you see that Garion begins untying from the edge of the dock and then pushes the boat with him in it and the lot of you in it as well off as the boat gently coasts before he sits down, and he begins grabbing onto the oars and he begins to very slowly just begin to row. You hear the gentle ripple of water as you begin to make your way southward, but also heading further into this large lake that the docks were sitting on. So, is there anything in particular you guys would like to do as you begin to get out into deeper waters?
Definitely look around and check to see everything's all right.
Sure, if you'd like to make a perception check.
Yeah.
Well, all of us,
I'm just
or
gonna
You can all make one if you want. Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, villain's going to
be
basically
chatting
just kind
up.
of be.
I'm trying to chat up Garion because I'm very nervous. So, you like boats?
While Anna's
yeah.
doing this, Villain's gonna be looking around, but she's gonna be listening to what they're saying, and every now and then she's just gonna kind of do a little laugh to herself because she finds that like the what is it, like his amount of naivete like amusing.
Yeah.
So Anna,
Like, oh, look at him.
as everyone else is beginning to look around and you ask this question, Goarin simply replies, "Yep."
All right, I'm gonna
Nothing
roll. God, my die have been really bad today. I'm glad this isn't combat. So perception, I rolled a 4 plus 3, 7.
Right. Anna, if you
I
want to
see.
roll perception as well, you can.
Anna's
I
too
did.
distracting.
Yeah.
A very
I did. I
off-putting
rolled an
individual.
18.
Yeah.
An 18, all right.
18, yeah.
And Azra?
Oh, mine is a 4.
Wow, okay.
Good.
So the most perceptive of you
We're
is the
just so
one that is...
distracted.
Yeah, he
I'm
is...
just going on and on over there with his box, just like talking away.
Surprisingly, the anxiousness that Honor feels causes him to be very perceptive in this moment because he has never been in a position like this before. So you can see that there are a few boats currently on the water. The water itself is very, very murky. It's up to you if you want to test this yourself, but you feel like if you were to put your hand into the water, you wouldn't be able to see it past a couple inches. It's very mucky, very dirty, and it smells rancid. This is a smell of chemicals, possible toxins, decay, whether it's plant life or animal-based, waste, sewage. This is definitely water that, just from a glance, you don't want to be in. So you're very thankful for being on this boat, as small as it is and as rickety as it might seem at times.
There's no way Villain is willingly touching that water.
Yeah.
So the cavern itself, it's actually fairly well lit, just in a very ambient way. So as you look up, you can see that reflecting off the various walls of this cavern is natural sunlight. You don't glance the sky itself, but you do obviously get these rays of sunlight that sort of bounce through to sort of lightly illuminate the cavern. So you aren't in pitch black while you're out here, but you do see that the direction that you are beginning to head in to the south does start to get to sort of the tail end of this initial cavern, and it does seem like it will get darker the further along you get. So, as you guys continue with Goarin gently rowing the boat, not saying a single word unless any of you decide to talk to him like Honor did. The one sort of lit oil lantern that is sort of hanging from a pole on the back of the boat being your guiding light, I guess, the one piece of comfort that you have out on these waters. You travel for roughly about 20 minutes or so on the water, very quietly. And you do begin to spot off to the side of this cavern as you've now left the developed section of this cavern. You see off on the shore some sort of movement. It's kind of a little bit hard to make out what it is. You do see there is a light source and some sort of figures moving. If any of you would like to perceive, you may roll a perception check.
Come on, better than a 4. Let's
Alright,
go.
so look.
Ooh, that's a 9 plus one. My perception, I think, was 3, so I think it's 11 for me. Yep, 11.
Okay.
16.
All right.
Yep. 11
Very
plus
perceptive,
6.
maybe.
11
The
plus
11 plus 6,
the
17.
insane box weirdo has like the best perception.
Just constantly looking around at things, just like, "Whoa, what's going
Yes.
on? What's going on?"
It's definitely on flavor.
Yeah.
So, Villain, it's a little bit hard for you to make out at this distance. You do see that this is a group. Almost, it seems like there's a couple figures in front and a couple in the back. And the one of the figures in the front of this group that's sort of traveling in a similar direction to you guys is holding some sort of torch. Azra and Honor, being a bit more perceptive, you can see that there are 3 forward figures to this group that are wearing ramshackle leathers. One of them carrying a torch, while the other 2 carry some form of spiked polearm type weapons. And you can see that behind them, that they are holding onto, are chains, heavy metal chains. And you can see that these chains are attached to the figures behind them. Let's see if I actually wrote it in my notes how many there are here. Yes. There are 2 figures behind them that are attached to these chains that seem to be attached around their necks. The figures behind them seem much more disheveled, walking very strangely in sort of a stumbling motion. It seems like they're kind of at times reaching out towards the figures in the front of this group, but occasionally you'll see that one of the members with these larger spiked polearm type weapon or device will prod at the figures behind in chains to sort of keep them at a distance.
So I'm going to react quite emotionally to this, because I think that could be my brothers, essentially, that have been caught. So I would try and look at them further, or try and use Pitt's knowledge to see as to why they're chained or whatever.
Sure.
I don't know how far away they are, etc.
I would say with your experience, you probably don't even have to roll. At first, you do feel like, are these my brothers? But then after looking for a moment longer, you're like, no, if these are my brothers, they're no longer my brothers. Because what you believe you see at this point are 2 dregs, which are for Honor probably not entirely being aware of these, and Villain perhaps being somewhat aware, are these almost zombie-like humans that have lost any semblance of humanity, whether it's through the toxic runoff from metrics or something else that has caused them to be like this. And the 3 members at the front appear to be some sort of gangers. If you would like, you can roll a history check to try to determine perhaps what gang they're from.
I don't see these individuals though. To me, they're just like
they're a little bit blurry to you at this point.
And I'm definitely no help.
Cool. I rolled a 12 plus. Yeah, just a 12, no plus.
A 12. Based on the context of this situation, you believe that most likely the people guiding these dregs are members of the Freak Show gang, which you don't know too much about them, but you do know that they are notorious for their fascination of dregs, even going as far as mutilating themselves to resemble them. And they will often take dregs into their territory to use for whatever purposes. Oftentimes, it is said that they use them as almost like guard dogs, where they will keep them chained up to an area, so that way if anyone were to pass through, they will make noise and sort of alert the gang. So you just see these...
Well, they're coming towards us, are they? Or
so they're traveling in a similar direction to you, but they are, at this point, probably about 120 feet away on the shore of the cavern. There's like a small shore, as this area of the cavern isn't developed. And you just see them sort of heading southward.
So is there no dock or anything along the shoreline?
At this point, no. So after traveling for about a couple minutes or 5 minutes from where you left off from the docks, you had passed the point where the docks had stopped, essentially.
Okay, and as we're looking at the folks over there, there's no like receiving area. There's no like docks to.
No. This looks just like an empty shore that they're sort of walking along, pulling these dregs. Okay. So, as you guys.
So we can just walk. We can just carry on rowing. We're not going to get their attention. Then I imagine if we can just carry on rowing past them.
I will actually quickly roll. Okay. You do see that the one with the torch does seem to stop momentarily and sort of appear to glance in your direction, but doesn't seem to be like particularly nervous or alert as to the fact that you're there. It doesn't seem like they care too much, but it seems like they're at least aware of your presence, considering that your boat does have a lit lantern on it in a dark cavern. So they definitely take note of your presence. But otherwise, they continue moving along, and as the boat continues forward, eventually you do see, as you're kind of almost keeping pace with them a little bit, that they eventually turn off into what appears to be an offshoot, smaller tunnel. Almost looks a bit like it's an old mining shaft or a tunnel, and they just turn off, going further away from you guys into the cavern itself. All right. After what feels like maybe another hour, it seems, you guys eventually begin to see the end of this lake that you guys have been traveling on. Probably more like an ocean, really, inside the pits, but technically a lake.
Yeah.
The cavern at this point has narrowed towards this sort of end point and has become considerably darker. You're getting very little natural light coming into this end of the cavern. And eventually, the boat, as it makes its way onto the shore of the cavern, you see Goarin sort of gets out and begins dragging the boat a little bit onto the shore, not too far, before he says, "This is as far as I can take ye. I'll head a little ways off the shore for my own protection. When ye are done, send me a signal from the shore, and I'll come back in."
Cool.
Sort of nods.
When he says his own protection, what was he? Do we know what's around here for his own protection, or is it just general pits vibes for his own protection?
You gather it's probably general pits vibes.
Yeah.
It's probably not the best in the more undeveloped areas of the pits to just be sitting in a rowboat on a shore in a dark cavern by yourself. You get the sense that he's probably going to paddle some distance back out into the water and then just wait.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
Cool.
All right. So, as you all
Thanks, boat guy.
sort of nods knowingly.
Dylan's just gonna nod as she gets out. Yeah.
All right. So, without even a goodbye or good luck, Goarin pushes the boat back off the shore before hopping in and beginning a slow row back in the direction you guys just came from. All right. So, you do see that just maybe about 60 feet from the shoreline is another sort of mine shaft or tunnel that is in the direction that you guys have to head. It definitely seems like this would be the spot on the map that is marked out as your potential route to sort of travel towards Southmaw. So, what do you guys do?
Is that the only route off of the shore, or is there other?
This is the only visible one that you can see. Glancing at the map, it seems like there are a couple other routes, but most of those would be further back than where you guys had come from. Sort of more in the direction of where you had seen the freak show gangers.
Cool.
This definitely seems like it would save a bit of time.
Sweet. Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Just
So
press on, I guess, towards the mine shaft entrance or whatever it is.
sure.
Yeah. Looks like it's it. So.
You can see as you begin to approach the entrance of this tunnel, you see that there's a few broken crates and barrels. You see a small campfire, long left unused, and bits and pieces of mining equipment. You do see that there is an old rusty pickaxe. You see bits of rope, old lanterns that have been discarded and smashed on the side of the cavern wall. Yeah, but
So this is like a very like not active mine. It's a very like a kind of an abandoned kind of deal.
You do know that most of the mines within the pits and the caverns sort of surrounding it are abandoned. There are some that are still in use by the folks in Metrics, but typically those are fairly well guarded by sort of the mining corporations to stop individuals, perhaps such as yourself, from causing a ruckus or going from Metrics to the pits, because they definitely don't want you going to the pits. the government, the Iron Assembly of Metrics. So
let's take a pause while
sure.
Bill's
Definitely take a pause.
Because Bill's just like gone.
He is gone. Oh wait, Honor is back. But we can have a quick pause, I guess. So
we're just currently sort of walking along and sort of seeing an abandoned mine shaft or mining encampment.
Yeah.
Sort of deal.
It doesn't seem like an encampment per se, but just an entrance. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
To get back into D&D stuff,
sure.
Villain will take point, and I would also like to check for traps as I proceed through this dark tunnel.
All right, sure. I guess in terms of marching order, so if Villain is going to be taking the front, who will be in the middle and who will be in the back? I mean, you can kind of walk side by side, but it depends if you want to go in a line.
I would suggest that Bill's at the back, because obviously Villain's the most dexterous.
Yeah. And as we approach, she's not just going to be like, trundling in. She's going to be like cautiously walking,
Yeah.
I'm not going to say like actively stealthing, but,
taking time to observe surroundings. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure. If you would like to roll...
I'll lead up back.
Yeah. So if you'd like to roll an investigation check for me to check for traps.
Investigation.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
I'll be doing this as well,
4?
because...
level 4?
Sure, if Azra would like to as well.
14, no buffs.
Okay.
That's better.
Kel, your rolls have been atrocious today.
Oh, they have. Hey, once I can start rolling for the things I'm good at, even if I roll bad, they're going to be high. So
Yep. Just wait until we get to combat.
Once I can stealth and jump around, it'll be good.
All right. So, as you all begin your journey through the old mine tunnel, the cold begins to envelop you. Whilst the pits is generally colder than the surface, this tunnel is much colder. You can almost visibly see your breath at this point. The more perceptive of the group feel a slight breeze at your backs. It definitely feels as if wind or air is moving slowly from where you've come from forward. By the way, this tunnel is pitch black. So how are you guys wanting to light your way?
Good question.
Actually, let me see what
I have.
Villain
I
has
have
on
120 feet of dark vision, which I know from a
Oh.
D&D standpoint is such a like. Well, actually,
Yes, it is. It really is.
but let's see. What do I have?
I mean, I have a
could, like-
torch, but like
Yeah.
I don't think.
It depends. You can either go in mostly blind and try have Honor point you in the right direction, or you can...
Were any of the lanterns like intact as we approached? Because you said there were some that are smashed. Were any of them like intact?
Yeah, there was definitely one that was intact. It definitely seemed like it was an oil-based lantern, so you can always grab one of those.
Yeah. So Villain will grab one of those, and she does have some oil because she has like a D&D terms. I have a Dungeoneer's pack.
Yes.
So I have stuff that would be able to light a torch and all that kind of stuff. So she'll do she'll fire up the lantern and then dim it. Not like super dim, but still fairly dim.
Sure.
So you can see, but we're not like we're announcing our presence to everything, to 150 feet or whatever.
Yeah, so this isn't like a bullseye lantern that has a beam of light. This is more just giving off a general sort of glow. And it definitely helps.
If it has one of those, like, if it's one of those classic the classic lanterns that has like a little twisty thing that you can raise and lower the
it definitely does.
light.
So,
cool.
Villain, do you have a way to actually light it?
I do have. Let me see. I would assume it's in the Dungeoneers pack. I just wrote on my character sheet Dungeoneers pack.
I would assume if you have oil, you probably have like a tinderbox, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, most likely.
Yep. All right.
Yeah, looking at what I randomly also have like artisan tools and stuff. Oh yeah, I could probably like use it with like a flint or something.
Yeah, you definitely can. So, Villain lights up the lantern as you guys continue your journey. I would say that the light that this gives off probably only gives you maybe about with probably about 20 feet of dimmer light. It kind of gives you a vague sense of how the tunnel curves and winds based on the reflective surface. The rocks that sort of this tunnel bores through definitely seems to have some sort of like slight reflectiveness to it. So as you guys continue on, checking for traps as best you can.
Yeah.
After what feels like quite some time, maybe about 30 odd minutes of travel, I will say at this point that, Honor, you do feel the external sense of excitement sort of begins to creep in to your psyche a bit more.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just say that. It does make you a little bit nervous, but almost comforting in a while. Almost as if a friend is saying, it's okay, it's going to be fun, in a way.
Okay.
So after about 30 minutes, you see that the sort of winding tunnel that you're in, which has gone in many different directions, begins to open up to a small sort of opening in somewhat of a cavern. You see that crates and different barrels litter the area, which is probably about 100 feet from one end to another. The cavern ceiling in this area is probably only maybe 2 stories high, I would say. Yeah, if you guys wish to make a perception check to sort of check the area, see what's around here.
What's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
If my rolls continue the way they are, I'm gonna swap die. I don't believe in the superstition, but
the juju.
Come on.
Oh
man, it's another. It's so bad.
I've got a 1.
Oh man. Okay, so we got a 1, a
got a
6,
1.
and Kel, what did you get?
I got an 8.
Okay. Well, it's the best of the group, so.
That's sad. I rolled a 5. I'm gonna get another die. Hold on. I've got a bunch.
It is very dark in here, but your lantern does give a bit of light. From what you can see, this appears to be some sort of small mining camp. You see that there's an occasional tent that sort of lies ragged and ruined. You see a pickaxe that's sort of lent up against an old fire pit from long ago that has since been left unused. You do see at the end of this sort of 100-foot sort of, I guess, diameter cavern that there are 2 tunnels that sort of offshoot in a leftward and a rightward direction. What would you guys like to do?
Okay. From what Villain remembers, because she studied the map, although if she forgets, we can take a look at it because she gave it to Ona. Which direction does the map say we should go?
So the map shows that both of these routes do lead to Southmaw. They seem to be roughly similar in length, the paths, but the rightward path shows that it connects to the lower portion of the cavern in which Southmaw lies, whereas the left path connects to sort of the upper section.
And do we know if we want to go to the upper or lower section of Southmaw?
Southmaw is more upwards in elevation compared to the rest of the stuff in the cavern that it's in. But there are sort of like very similar to where Blackjack's was. There was sort of an underground lake that this area sort of connects to. It does show that there's some sort of settlement that surrounds Southmaw. And yeah, the docks are kind of a part of that settlement. So if you go right, it would go towards the docks, probably. Whereas if you go left, it would go up. So it depends how you guys wish to try and approach Southmaw before you even reach there.
You mentioned in this sort of atrium that we're in just before these two paths. So there's like an old like campfire and like sort of a dilapidated tent.
Yes.
Would I be able to examine this tent to see if there's like anything still remaining in it? Or if it's
Sure,
through?
if you wish to. Roll a I'd probably say perception in this regard, because you're not seeing something per se and then like checking it out. This is more of just seeing what's around.
Yeah, I'm just trying to determine what everything sort of looks like. That is a 14.
14. This tent only really seems to have some sort of sleeping bag. You do see that there are like scraps of rope sort of lying strewn about near it. It seems like maybe there was some sort of like purposeful slashing to the tent. It doesn't seem like it's just been left and then fell to decay. It seems like it's been more so destroyed.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Can we check as to how, like, what the destruction was from, like bladed or claws or anything like that? Can we ascertain that, do you think?
Yeah. So as you guys sort of look at this tent, it seems like there are very clean cuts. It doesn't look like it's very, I guess, claw-like. It doesn't look like an animal or some sort of creature's done it. It looks like it's specifically been like a blade.
Yeah.
That's cut through the tent.
Okay.
So,
Interesting.
as you guys are inspecting this, I want everyone to what's everyone's passive perception? I'll ask that.
Oh, it's better than mine.
Well,
So passive perception is 13 for me.
13.
12.
12.
16 for me.
16. Azra, you begin to faintly hear rattling of metal chains, perhaps. You hear a little bit of echoing chatter as well. It's hard to make out exactly what it is, but you do begin to hear it.
From one of the two tunnels, coming from there or coming towards us.
As you begin to listen in, you do hear that it seems to be coming from the right tunnel.
Okay.
Does do I hear?
I'll
it
be
all,
telling.
or is it just-
Yeah, I'm going to be telling them that I'm hearing something going on.
So as
coming towards
Azra
us.
begins to mention this, you do listen in, and you also begin to hear the same thing. Seems to be getting a little bit louder.
Okay, villain is very like cautious. I'm gonna immediately attempt to hide somewhere. I'm gonna attempt a stealth.
Okay, so villain, if you'd like to make a stealth check.
This one.
And anyone
even if
else
I
who wants to
suck,
make a
it's
stealth
gonna
check,
be
you
good.
can let me know what you guys are doing.
Critical.
Okay, 26.
Oh boy! Before you
That's
guys have a
He's
moment
definitely hidden.
to sort of discuss amongst yourself what you want to do, villain is gone. What are you doing with the lantern? I should say, as this happens.
It's gonna be like where I was standing.
Okay,
Like,
so it's on the
gonna
ground
be-
lit. Yep.
Yep, just literally on the ground where I was standing.
Just drop it and run.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
didn't
we,
even-
just, we just look over and the lantern is like spinning in the air.
Like a
It's
cartoon.
almost- Yeah.
So Villain is basically hiding nearby. So
Okay.
I didn't run down the hall or anything. So she's hiding nearby, like pretty close.
Sure.
Just kind of like
Yeah.
blending into the shadows.
There are plenty of crates and barrels that's scattered around this area. Even bits of lumber as well that you'd imagine would be used to support this sort of cabin. So there's definitely places to hide. Whereabouts in the room would you want to hide in terms of like...
Honor, get in the tent.
Get in the tent.
Um,
Where would you like to hide? I guess, so you've got this... so the north is where you guys have arrived from. And then you've got this room. And then you've got, from your perspective, the right tunnel and the left tunnel both do go south. The right tunnel goes southwest and the left goes southeast.
I think she would like to hide somewhere so she could, if she needed to, for whatever reason, could catch the people walking through from behind. So basically, if they're coming, if it's coming like this, the V angle like this, and we're in like the lower part, she's gonna hide maybe in the a little bit in the opposite tunnel. So if once they come through, she can get them from behind.
Okay, so you're gonna try hide like near the entrance of the other tunnel. Okay,
doesn't not exactly into the other tunnel, but in such a way that she could easily flank them after they've walked into our area.
Okay, there's definitely some crates that are sort of placed in a position near there that you can hide behind. Azra and Honor, what are you doing?
I'm trying to hide somewhere in this tent because I have been told to hide in this tent. I am otherwise completely frozen by fear.
I just imagine Bill's character sitting in the tent, and there's like slashes all over it, so you can just clearly see him. He's just sitting in there.
Okay, Azra, what are you doing?
I'm gonna obviously I've told Bill to just get in the tent, like just shoved him in there, and I've just like literally just vaulted over one of the boxes and just ducked down underneath one of the boxes and like just peering over, like, towards the entrance.
Okay, well, both Azra and Honor, if you'd like to make stealth checks.
Okay.
Now, I forget, Honor, do you have disadvantage on stealth?
I believe I do because I got heavily armored proficiency, which I think gives me disadvantage.
Let me check. So you have scale mail.
Yes.
Does scale mail cause disadvantage?
Oh, good question.
Let me double check.
I got a book.
Yes, it does.
It does. Yeah, it does. Okay. So that first one was a 4.
Oh no.
Second one was a 15, so 4.
Great.
Okay, so villain was
Damn.
26. Honor was
Bill,
So
4.
he's just
Is that for with your modifier?
That was with modifier.
Okay. Azra.
Wow.
It was a 6. But
yeah.
Yeah, that tracks.
Mine's a 6 with a 6 added, so it's 12 in total for mine.
Okay.
Okay.
But it looks like I can just see Honor's legs sticking out of the tent. I'm just like, fuck's sake.
Because this tent, this is
trying to find as much of the tent that is still together as possible, and just like.
Yeah, so this tent, obviously being destroyed, does not stand upright. So you have basically shoved yourself under the canvas of this tent to try hide. All right. So
Cool.
all of you sit quiet. Now, at this point as well, the lantern is still on. So do any of you want to turn it off, or do you want to keep it on? What do you want to do?
Oh, Villain's not moving.
Villain's hidden.
She's found.
Villain's gone.
She's found her spot. Yeah. Like.
Yeah.
I have the worst possible idea, but I'm gonna do it because I feel like it's in character.
Sure.
I'm gonna like grab a piece of shredded tent and try to toss it over the lantern to try to
Okay.
Oh no.
This is totally something that I would do. I'm gonna toss it over the lantern to try to like make it, not visible.
All right. So, as you throw this discarded piece of canvas over the top. It does stifle the light quite a bit, but there is a noticeable faint glow that is emanating through the canvas. It has gotten very dark in here. It's almost a little bit like almost like a glow stick kind of glow that the lantern gives off because it's been stifled.
Yeah.
Villain's surprised it didn't catch fire.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. It has been placed over the top. So, as you guys all sit in silence, listening, you hear the chatter and the chains rattling get closer. You also hear some weird groans as the noise gets closer. It almost sounds like... But the chatter
Is that a
continues.
dreg?
Definitely sounds like a dreg.
Villain has her. She has. So her weapons are these paired twin daggers with like this black blade and a gold embellishment, with a little like red casset on the end. She has both of them out in her hiding spot.
All right.
So she's like, she's ready.
So I would also say at this point, Honor, you're most likely prone.
Yeah.
Okay.
That absolutely checks out. Yeah.
Oh my god.
All right. Okay. Eventually, you do catch a glimmer of light that begins to reflect from the stone in the right side tunnel. And then eventually you do see some figures, one of them holding a torch, begins to make their way up this gentle slope towards the chamber that you were in. You see, as they begin to enter, 1, 2, 4 very similar people to the ones that you saw on the shore as you were in a boat rowing here, begin to enter the room. You see that they're wielding these very nasty makeshift, almost short swords that seem to be made out of crude metal, partially rusty in some areas, but have been sharpened on the edge to rip and tear through anything that it might hit. You do see one of these individuals has one of those long pole arm implements, and as those who are very slightly peering around from their hiding spot can see, it's a long metal pole with almost like a slight horseshoe shape at the end of it. And this metal horseshoe shape at the end has various spikes that are jutting out from various angles. It makes a bit more sense now, but this is probably some sort of corralling tool that is used to keep the dregs moving along. Whether they would put it around their neck and pull, or push with it. You see behind these 4 individuals, 2 of them are holding chains. And once again, these chains lead to 2 very zombie-like figures, 2 dregs. As they enter the room, you hear the chatter stop. What languages do you guys know?
Okay, let me check. What did I write? Villain kind of gets around. She travels a lot for her work, you know.
Fly in, fly out kind of gal.
Yeah, I did not specifically write the languages here, but she definitely is fluent in whatever the pit's language would be, as well as metrics and Mysteria, and probably Volcor as well. I would imagine in regards to regions of Rathe, the ones she's least familiar with would be like Savage Lands and Aria would probably be the ones. But
okay.
I feel her work takes her to those, and she does know a little bit of like Solanian dialect and stuff too. But,
sure. Azra, or Azrim and Honor, what languages do you guys know?
I definitely know like just the Rathe equivalent of English, like common.
Yep.
And then of course with the Selenian dialect, and then also in some way or another, I do know the Demonastery
Sure.
dialect and some languages that are used for their rituals and procedures.
Sure. Okay. And Azra.
Fantastic. I've just got common language and undercommon. So I think undercommon is like a slangish English language.
It's
perhaps?
like a. It's very similar to common. Yes.
Yeah.
Might be relevant because we're dealing with like gangers, but Villain is also proficient in like thieves' cant.
Okay.
And that kind of stuff.
Good to know. Good to know.
Mm.
I will say that whilst it does sound a bit like common, Honor, you don't know what these individuals were chatting about. Azra and Villain, you guys do know the language. It is undercommon, which is it's very adjacent to common, but noticeably different. So there are like sentence structures that Honor could probably kind of pick up on and get the general gist of, but like, yeah, you two are definitely familiar with this. It's very commonly used a lot by gangers, undercommon, and just a lot of people in the pits in general, just to try and hide their conversations a bit better. But you see that as they're entering, they're idly chatting about some sort of boss that they have to please. And as they enter, they stop, they look around. You see them take notice of this glowing light underneath a canvas. You hear them sort of look over and whisper at each other. Now, Honor, you can't understand this, but both of you hear them go, "What the fuck is that? That wasn't here before." And you watch as they begin slowly making their way forward. You still hear the dregs almost gasping for air, it sounds like, sort of wandering behind them. You watch as they approach and come right up to where this canvas is. And they sort of glance over in Honor's direction, seeing this hints of shine coming through the canvas of this tent.
Oh no.
Now, Honor, playing very still, you watch as the one with the torch leans down and begins to take the canvas off. Yes, do you
Okay.
have something?
I have a question.
Sure.
Would Villain, as she gets around a lot, but her most of her home base is in the pits, would she recognize these individuals as aggressive individuals? Like, does she get the vibe that these folks are going to attack on sight, or is it like if they're going to leave, let be? Because I just want to get an idea of whether or not she feels like
They're a threat.
I'm gonna just
Right.
I'm just gonna kill them right now.
You definitely get the sense that they're more likely a threat than not.
They're holding dregs, aren't they?
Yeah, they are holding dregs, which, from your knowledge, are creatures that will just sort of attack anything that they find. But the gangers themselves, you do know that most gangs you don't want to deal with, and a lot of them will attack on sight, especially if you are within their perceived territory.
Okay,
I would
so-
I would try and make a gesture to Villain to literally
don't know-
just
you don't know
I
Right
would
now.
say you would, but you don't know where Villain is.
Yeah.
So
Villain has
Neither of
disappeared.
us know what happened.
which of these figures? There's like 6, right? There's the 4 dudes and then the 2 dregs.
Yes.
Which of these figures is closest to where I'm hiding?
So there would be one that has just a makeshift sword of some sort, and they are holding a chain with a dreg that is kind of behind them. They are trying to keep them at a distance. They are fairly close, so essentially there's almost like a slight curve to the way that they are walking forward. They're kind of fanning out a little bit, with 2 of them having dregs behind them. So there is one with a sword somewhat close. The one with the big catcher pole type device is next in line, and then the one that's picking up the canvas is the one with the torch, and then there's another guy on the outside.
Okay. So fearing for my companion's safety, less out of a feeling of camaraderie and more of like I might need this person to complete this job, like as an asset, right?
Sure.
Like I need to protect my asset. Villain, I'm gonna attempt to, as they approach Ona, she's gonna quickly approach and then try to like run the closest dude through.
Okay, so roll for an attack with advantage and sneak attack, and you also get your assassinate as well.
Yeah, and I have two. I'm attacking with both my daggers too.
Yes.
So this is with advantage. So we'll roll.
They definitely do not seem to be aware of your presence, so you've got the drop on them. They seem to be curious as to what's going on and that someone's been here, but they don't know exactly what's happening yet.
All right, so here we go. That is a 16 plus 9 for the first attack.
Well, that'll hit.
That one, I'm not. That one is the first of the advantage. Well, let me see if the other. Let's see if I go better. That was an 18 plus 9. So that the first attack hits, and then the second attack is a nat 20.
Whoa!
Uh-oh. Strong.
So let me read some stuff.
So I believe you only get sneak attack on the first hit. Is that right?
No, actually.
Okay.
I get it on both of them.
Oh.
Basically, how sneak attack work is I get sneak attack on any enemy that I have advantage on. And so I also, as an assassin, I get advantage on anyone who hasn't taken turn in combat yet. Actually, I didn't read this part. Any surprised enemy is auto crit. So.
Oh man.
Both attacks are crit.
So they both hit, and then they're both automatically crits. Yep.
Yeah. So how are we going to do crits in this? Do you want me just to roll double?
So I normally say maximum whatever your dice can roll. Then you roll those dice again and add it to that, plus any extra damage bonuses that you get.
Okay. So the maximum I can roll, I'm attacking with daggers, so they're 1d4s, but I have a +6 to my damage, my regular damage, and then my daggers are actually enchanted with basically necrotic, like shadow power, and they also deal an additional 1d4. So the initial would be 14, and then I would get another roll on top of that.
Yep.
Okay, so 14. That's a
Nice.
And then, hold on, let me roll for the damage. So that is 28. I've rolled max. I rolled double 4s. So that's the first dagger is 28, and then the second dagger is going to be 14. I'll roll for it again. That's a 1, and then that's another 4. So that is going to be 7. Yeah, 20 and 25. So there you go.
Now, does that include your sneak attack damage?
No.
Okay,
so sneak attack.
You get 3d6 at your level?
Sneak attack is for
absolutely vaporized.
Literally.
Yeah, no, that was just the daggers. Hold on,
This is what assassins do.
Yeah.
Let me grab some more dice for the sneak attack. I'll just roll all 3 at once. So
That
3d6.
poor straggler at the back. He's
So
absolutely
3d6
gone.
means you add an additional 18 plus whatever you roll now. Because it
that's
does
true.
double your sneak
It's
attack.
also
Yep.
a crit.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, no.
So the first one is 8 and 5. So that is what? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 13.
Mhm.
And then that's a lot lower. So 6, 7, 8, 9. And then
Okay.
additional 18 plus 9.
25.
Yeah. So I'm hitting him for close to 80 something. Damage,
Okay.
Right? Do the math.
Whichever way you wish to kill this individual, please tell me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. So I'm basically gonna. It's gonna look like you just see like I think maybe Azra will notice this because perhaps he's looking in the direction. But
Yeah, I'm still
you'll see,
peering
like,
over the top.
And there is some light coming from the guy that's holding the torch.
You'll see like this.
If
Go
my
ahead,
math
Greg.
is correct, you did 111 damage.
It's an assassin. That's what you do.
Yeah.
with 1d4 daggers.
Yep.
So yeah. Anyway, you're gonna see this like very quick shadow just kind of swoop out of like this area that you're like, what the hell? I didn't even know like that area was like was even over there. And she comes up, and she just comes up behind the dude and just absolutely almost decapitates the dude. She just comes up, puts her arm around, and then like just clean cuts his entire head off.
All right.
Yeah, basically the length of the dagger goes directly through the dude's neck with like no resistance.
So,
and then she's just gonna kind of like throw the rest of the body onto the ground.
all right. So, Honor, as you,
and then she'll say, because
it's Morbin time.
It's Morbin time. No, she's gonna say,
Let's morb.
Let's morb. No, she's just gonna say, hello, boys.
All right. So, Honor, as you are laying down, just very barely glimpsing up underneath these canvas tatters, and Azra, as you're peering just around the corner of your cover, you see this blur of shadow extremely fast jut out from the shadows, and next thing you know, you see a splatter of blood cover the ground as one of the 4 gangers, one that's holding a makeshift sword and a chain, as they begin to collapse to the ground, you see their head begins to almost completely fall off the top of their neck, as it's barely hanging on by whatever muscle is left after Villain has just brutally destroyed this person. Just as the one with the torch has lifted up the canvas from the lantern, which has just been enough light to expose Villain as she has done this, and you just hear, "Hello, boys."
And the light is gonna like cast up into her, and so it's gonna just look very like
exactly.
These red eyes, and then like the demon mask.
All right, I would like everyone to roll initiative for our first class.
Honor, get up! Get up!
Come on.
All right, let me.
I'm glad 5th edition isn't like 3rd edition, where they can just immediately coup de grace him for being prone. Just insta kill him.
Yep.
Okay, that's not bad. 15 for me.
Okay,
I got 8.
So 8 from Honor, 15 from Villain,
14 from me.
14 from Azra. All right, let me start doing some rolling for these fine gentlemen. Yes.
I'm pretty sure the dude's still super dead, but I do want to point out that my second attack doesn't get the +6 bonus. Just to say what that is.
He was so beyond dead.
Even if you just took away the last sneak attack entirely, he took if my math was correct, 84 damage. Yeah.
Wow.
So I'll just keep that in mind for future attacks. I do have two weapon fighting. Just means I can attack. I can make a second attack as a bonus action with no ability modifier to damage.
I think 2-weapon fighting allows you to add your ability modifier to the damage of the second attack. I think you can always just attack with 2 weapons.
Yeah. I don't have like the feat to do it. I'm just reading what the normal 2 attack thing is.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I still get the crit. I still get the sneak attack bonus, but I don't get the +6 or whatever it is.
Yep. So I will say that from that, you would. This is technically a surprise round. It's surprising everyone minus you. So if you do want to move as well, you will have movement.
Okay. So do I get that before?
This is before the initiative sort of kicks in.
Oh, okay. So in that case,
technically on a surprise round, initiative has happened, but whoever is not surprised does their turn, and then everyone else goes to normal.
Okay, so I think I should be able to do this because I use my bonus action to take the second attack, so I can't do cunning action, but I do have 30 feet of movement, so I'd like to position myself opposite from the dregs. So I just basically unleashed a dreg because I killed that dude.
Yes.
Now the dreg is free. I want to move to the other side of the dude. So if this dreg wants to attack something, it has to go through the ganger.
So essentially, you're going to move probably behind where Honor is laying down. So would you be in sightline or?
So what I want to do is I'll just get into melee range of another.
Oh, the next guy
ganger,
along. Yep.
But opposite of the
Dregs.
The Dregs.
Easy.
Yeah.
All right. So at this point, you are standing, I guess, side by side to where the lantern is, and you are right next to one of the guys that this particular ganger has the catching tool, essentially.
Cool. And do I know where Azra is? Because I know he tried to hide. Did you actually do like a hide check, or did you just kind of just like, hoo, 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 and then
so
just jump?
he did hide. What is your passive perception, villain?
It's just 13.
Okay, so
It's just 13.
you are aware of where Azra is at the moment.
Okay, cool.
So-
I just want to be. I also want to be in a position where it doesn't like mess with his line of sight if he wants to shoot someone with an arrow or something.
So you would
I-
probably be, I guess, in the way of the person that you're standing in front of, but the other folks would be available for shooting.
Cool. Sounds good.
So let me just roll some initiative for these dregs. Roll. Oh, they've already got negative bonuses to their rolls. And they rolled low. So they are going dead last. Okay. So, as this immediate assassination has just happened, you watch as all the gangers immediately turn to see their comrade fall to his knees and collapse on the ground, the blade in his hand clanging to the rocky floor, and the chain that he was holding also fall to the floor. So, first up in initiative will be the gentleman furthest away from the guy that got killed. So, this guy, you watch as he yells out, he goes, "We got some fucking intruders here!" And he's going to immediately dash towards Villain, who is the only person he can really currently see. And he is going to make 2 weapon attacks with his short sword. So the first one is, oh yikes, probably not going to hit on a 6.
No.
And his second attack is, okay, that's better. That is a 19 to hit.
19 does hit.
Okay.
And I will use my reaction on this hit to have any. Well, I think I can. Can I, for uncanny dodge? It's been a while.
If you can do it
Can
before
I
after you know
wait
the
to-
damage.
Yeah, can I wait to see the number before or after? I don't remember. If I can.
Well, let's have a squeeze in this very handy rulebook.
Yeah, so for those of you out there who don't know, uncanny dodge is an ability that I can do once per round. I can use my reaction to have any damage against me that I can see. So I just want to know if I can do it before.
Yeah, the way it's worded, it says when an attacker that you can see hits you with an attack, you can use your reaction to half the attack's damage against you. I would assume that would be before you know the damage.
Okay.
So it's up to you. Yeah, I mean,
There's
it looks like
probably a way to know.
a nasty blade, but
Yeah.
nothing you haven't particularly seen before. It just looks a bit nasty.
Villain's pretty confident. She has a pretty high AC, so I'll just have this one, whatever it is.
Sure. Okay. So this will be pretty much bog standard average for the hit. So this will be 5 points of slashing damage.
Okay.
As you feel this very jagged, nasty blade that looks like it's made from some sort of scrap metal just cuts into you, manages to cut through part of your very wavy outfit to find solid flesh as it hits.
So I have 5.
All right. So that is the end of that guy's turn. So next up will be... Ooh, okay, so this is a tie between Villain and the guy that she is standing in front of. So in that regard, I... Typically for party members, if they match in initiative order, I have whoever has the highest initiative go first. But I think when it's against an enemy, I like it if it's a roll-off. So if you'd like to just roll off another initiative check, I guess.
Cool, yeah. Good luck. I have 24. I rolled a 19.
Yep, that'll definitely put you ahead. So, as the guy with the pole catcher is getting ready to swing at you. What do you do, villain?
Probably just gonna stab him.
Sounds like a good plan.
Let me think. Yeah, I'm just gonna stab him twice. So I will not get sneak attack on either of these guys because I don't have advantage on them.
No, you currently do not. They are aware of your presence now that you have decapitated one of their friends.
I need Azra to get in here so I could use him to flank. So until that, I'm just going to. Oh, actually, hold on. So this guy hasn't taken a turn yet in combat, right? The guy
He
that
has
about to
not.
swing.
No.
So one other part for the assassinate ability is I get advantage on anyone who hasn't taken a turn in combat yet.
Awesome.
And then I get the surprised auto crit thing, but he's not surprised, so I do get advantage on him.
Yes, and that will also mean that you do get sneak attack. Yeah. Because you have advantage.
So we'll roll for the attack for the first attack. I'll just roll 2d20s at once. We got not great. I have a +9, so I have 18, and then lower than 18.
Yep.
That's for the first attack, and I'll roll for the second attack just to see if it hits. Much better. It's like 18 +9 to hit.
Yep,
on the
that'll definitely hit. These guys are not particularly super well armored. You do see that they're just wearing sort of plain leathers. That sort of seems to be like very ramshackle and sort of just put together on a whim. Whatever they could find to put on themselves to defend themselves, that's what they put on.
All right, Bill, you've been pretty good at keeping track. You want to keep track of the damage here real quick?
Yeah.
Okay.
Got it.
So I got 2 hits. They both got sneak attack damage. I'm gonna roll the sneak attack damage first, which is 3d6. Well, actually, it's just gonna be 6d6. So you know what? I can do all that at once. I have a lot of die here.
Oh yeah, for both the hits. Yep.
Actually, roll
I just want to double check. I feel like it can only apply on. It can only apply once per round, the sneak attack, but.
Yeah, feel free to check, but I'm pretty sure the last time I played Assassin, it's any time you hit.
Once per turn, you can deal an extra 1d6 to one creature you hit with an attack roll if you had advantage, but then that obviously goes up depending on your level. So it's just once per turn.
It's just once? Okay, that's fine.
You can. So you could, for example, if you were to have crit on the second hit, you could hold off on using your sneak attack on the first hit and use it on the second. But you can only do it once per turn, essentially. So one of these.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this is the sneak attack damage. That is 9. I just rolled 3 threes. Okay. So and then now let's do the just regular damage here. This is for the first attack. So this is the primary attack, which is 1d4 + 6 + 1d4 necrotic. So that is 4 + 6. So that is 10. Mm-hmm. And then, if it matters, 3 of it was necrotic. And then the second dagger attack only gets 1d4, does not get the +6, but I do get the dagger damage. So that's going to be an additional 5.
Okay, an additional 5 damage.
24.
Yes.
24.
24 points of damage. So you guys see as villain in a flurry of knives begins to cut and slash and puncture into this ganger. He is still currently standing. He definitely seems worse for wear. But you hear him as he gets stabbed repeatedly by these very delicate blades.
Any time that hits and you can see like open flesh, it leaves like this nasty black like mark that kind of it radiates like the veins. You can like it makes the veins black around it.
Yes.
Which is very, very unusual.
Yeah.
Very unusual.
All right. So, any additional movement on your turn, villain?
Oh, I can actually disengage from this.
So you could run away, but he would get opportunity attack as you don't have a bonus action.
That's true. I'd use the bonus action to do the additional attack. I'm just going to stay.
Sure.
Because cunning action is a bonus action.
Yes.
And attacking with the second dagger is also a bonus action, so I can't do both. I can't do both dagger attacks and also cunning action at the same turn.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then the uncanny dodge is a reaction. So if you're unfamiliar with how D&D works, you have your action, you also have a bonus action, and you also have a reaction. And they're all, stipulated differently.
So
No blocks and reactions.
No blocks and
attack reactions. You played a defense reaction to half the damage.
Yeah, my sink below.
Absolutely.
So with that said, I'm not going to give him an op attack. I'm just going to stay.
Sit tight.
So.
Alrighty, cool. Next up
And
in line
Hope my allies join the fight.
would be
Absolutely.
the guy that you have just stabbed. He is not particularly happy with you. Now that you're close up, face to face, you can get a better look at what these gangers look like. You see that in a very grotesque way, there are long cuts that go from the edge of their mouth further up their cheekbones, almost extending the mouth that they actually have. So it cuts deep enough to go through the skin of the cheek, where you can actually see more of their teeth. It's very grotesque, and this man's eyes are wild with fury and pain. So he is going to try swing at you with... So you are right up next to him. So he is going to swing at you with this large polearm device. He's going to make 2 attacks. Ooh, first one is a 6. That ain't going to hit.
Nope.
Second one is a 18 to hit.
Again, the high rolls. The 18 does hit, yeah.
All right, so this is going to be...
It's real close, though. It almost didn't.
That is 6 points of piercing damage as
Ouch.
he goes to swing this pole catcher, this catching device at you. You dodge the first swing, but the second one manages to just latch on a little bit onto your arm, and as you pull away, you feel this tearing of your flesh once more.
Cool.
So,
Yep, so I've now taken 11.
okay. How much HP do you have in total?
Quite a bit, actually.
Okay.
She's hardy. That's about a fourth of my health.
Alright, not too bad. Cool, that will be the end of his turn because he is sure as hell not going to move away and give you an opportunity attack.
I want... Sure.
But you do hear him yell, "Get the fucking dregs off the chains!" Alright. Azra is up next. What would you like to do?
So I'm gonna peer over the box and just assess the situation first of all. So
Sure.
So where are the so where is everything right now? So Kel's engaged with 2 people, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
essentially. So, Villain is right in the face of a guy with a pole catcher and has stabbed him a couple times. There is a guy that has lifted off the bit of canvas off the lantern, who is now looked over directly to Villain. There is a guy that has flanked, I guess, pretty much right on top of where the lantern is, who has a short sword. There are 2 dregs about 10 feet behind the group of people. One of them is no longer being held by a ganger, and the other one is still being held by a ganger. And then, I guess, probably about 5 feet away from the guy that attacked Villain is Honor, laying prone underneath a bit of canvas. And then you're probably about 15 odd feet behind that.
Okay, nice. I'm gonna try and take a shot at the injured bloke that that Villain's already slashed at. I'm gonna try and take a shot at him.
Okay.
Sweet.
So currently Villain would be kind of in your sight line. So I would say probably if you're aiming to hit the guy and not Villain, this guy would probably have half cover. Which would mean that his AC increases. So, but you can definitely take a shot.
That's a risk I'm willing to take.
All right.
Yeehaw, brethren.
Let's go. So yeah, I draw just a regular arrow out of my quiver of Abyssal Depths, spoiler card, and then load it into the Sanskar Greatbow, spoiler card, hashtag flesh and blood. Jokes. And then I'm just gonna attempt to fire at him. So I roll a dice. So that is a 8 plus 8, so 16 on the to hit.
That will hit.
Fantastic.
All right.
And then it's a D8 plus 3. So where's a D8? Is it this one here? Yeah. That is a 6 plus 3, so 9 damage on him.
Alrighty. So, as Villain is furiously swinging blades at this guy who is trying to essentially catch any body part that he can with this catcher, as Villain ducks out the way to swing the blade, an arrow goes straight through and lands smack bang in the center of this guy's face, piercing out the back of his skull as he falls backwards, dead. He is now dead.
Fantastic. So he's dead.
All
Awesome.
right.
Oh yeah.
Another one down.
So I've eliminated that one. I've got another attack as well.
Sure.
We've got the 2 attacks, don't we? So is there another person next to Villain then?
Yeah, there are essentially two extra people. So one of them that had the torch and who lifted up the canvas from the lantern, and the other one that has already taken a swing at Villain with a short sword.
Yeah, so I'm going to target that one with a ensnaring strike as a bonus action. So this is going to be basically a barbed undertow card, which I'm going to be firing at the villain, the enemy, I should say, which is next, the villain that's attacking Villain. Yeah, so I'm gonna fire an ensnaring strike at them. So basically, the next time I hit a creature with a weapon attack, which will be a bow attack, they essentially get a writhing mass of thorny vines, which will then sort of restrain them, and they have to make a saving throw at the beginning of their turn.
Sure.
And they can't get out of it, and they take damage if they do that. But yeah, I'm gonna try and hit them first with this. So just for context of people that are listening to this, ensnaring strike is a ranger spell, but I've just flavored it so that it's basically a barbed undertow. If that makes sense.
Yep. So there's like some chain attached to the arrow that wraps itself around, I guess.
Yeah. So it is a spell that they can use called ensnaring strike, but it's barbed undertow for flesh and blood purposes. # Legendary Studios.
Not affiliated in any way with Legendary Studios.
not affiliated in any way, but just loving the passion and the cards and everything else involved. So rolling a dice here, and that is a fucking 19 plus 8.
Nice.
That will definitely hit. Yes.
I was gonna say not affiliated in any way, but we could be. Call us up.
Yeah. Hit us up.
Yeah.
All right. So that definitely hits the second arrow.
Yep, fantastic. So that is D8. That's a D8 again. Bear with me a sec. So D8 plus 3 again is a 5 plus 3. So it's only 8 damage, but then the ensnaring strike effect will happen, I believe.
All right. And that effect was.
So 40 vines appear at the point of impact. The target must succeed on a strength saving throw or be restrained by the barbs. I'm going to say, not with magical vines in the book, but barbs from the barbed undertow.
Yep. Yeah, with a 4, they most definitely fail. So that guy is now restrained.
So what does restrained entail? Like, what's the deal before we buff?
A creature restrained by vines or one that can touch the creature, blah, blah, blah. Oh. While restrained by the spell, the target takes 1d6 piercing damage at the start of each of its turns.
Okay, so 1d6 at the start of.
And then you'd make a strength check against the spell save DC, and if you succeed, then you get out of out of that essentially.
Does that take an action to make the save? And I'm assuming it's after the damage at the start of the turn.
Yeah, so while restrained, the target takes 1d6 piercing damage. A creature restrained by the barbs, they can make an action they can use an action to make a strength check.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
For Kel's reference as well, a restrained creature's speed becomes 0 and it can't benefit from any bonus to its speed. Attack rolls against it have advantage, and its attack rolls have disadvantage, and it also has disadvantage on dex saves. So
attack rolls against it have advantage.
Sneak attack.
Absolutely.
All right. Awesome. Cool. Good turn. I'm assuming you're staying put. You don't want to move.
Yeah, I'll stay where I am for now. Yeah.
Alrighty. Also, just for reference, your bow. Did you want to describe what your bow looks like?
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. So my character is essentially wielding the red liner bow, which is essentially a sort of mechanical, as much as a metrics mechanical bow that you can get, essentially, from all the bows that we have in Flesh and Blood. That is probably the most mechanical looking one, 'cause it's got like the cogs and the stuff wrapped round the wire, isn't it? So it's in relation to his sort of his metrics vibes is where he lives. So he's got that sort of bow.
Very cool. All right.
Absolutely.
Next up, this will be another tie. This will be Honor tied in initiative with the guy holding the torch. So if you both want to roll off for this one, so I'll roll. Oh man, they've been rolling
that was
like
a 17.
Yeah, you get that one. That's
he
good.
knows what's up.
All right, so you have just glimpsed a bunch of murder and screams and blood as you are laying down underneath this canvas. What would you like to do?
You literally just saw Villain like cut a dude's head off, cut up a bunch of guys, and then Azra shoot a dude directly into the face, like murdering that guy too.
And then wrap up and chains another guy.
I'd like to use my movement to stand up.
Okay, so that's half your
so that I
movement
am
to
no
stand up.
longer prone.
It's a good start. I'm sorry I put you in that position.
Then, okay, so there are currently 2 dregs that are still on chains. Are those chains held like one? Because there's 2 dregs left and there's 2 gangers, right?
The first guy I killed was holding one of the chains.
Yes.
Okay, so one of the dregs is like free, and then one of the other gangers is holding the other chain.
Yes.
The guy who's holding the chain, I would like to cast command on him.
Oh no. Okay. Sure. What is your one word that you wish to command him with that he must take his next action on if he fails? Or actually, we'll roll to see if he fails first.
Yeah. So it's a wisdom saving throw.
Oh, okay. He actually rolled kind of decent. He rolled a 16.
Okay. So the DC is 13. My mod doesn't come into that at all, right? It's just the mod is the DC is 13.
So your DC is essentially 8 plus your proficiency plus your spellcasting modifier. Yeah.
Okay.
So
so I believe my DC is just 13. Just unfortunate.
Unfortunate. So as you reach forth, sort of gesturing, almost grabbing, because you can pretty much touch this guy's leg if you wanted to. Gesturing forth, trying to impede him with your magical energy. You feel it not connect. This is a very strange individual and it's thrown you off kilter.
Yeah.
What else would you like to do? You have a bonus action.
I guess I would like to... Would I be able to use my bonus action to just like take out my shield?
Yeah. I would say that you could probably do that as a bonus action. I like to not impede people who try to don on and off a shield.
Yeah, that's
okay.
That's basically all I think I can do. I don't think I'm going to be moving, so
all right.
I'm just going to have my shield and just be like, oh, never mind.
Sitting tight. All right. So as you have just popped up, almost like a child trying to scare their parents by like hiding under the covers and then going rah as they jump up. You see both the gangers immediately look over to see you. The guy with the torch is currently a bit busy though because Villain is right next to him. So he is going to... Okay. He sees that Villain is quite scary at the moment. So he is going to use an ability called Dreg Imitation. So you watch as this freak show ganger, who also has a very similar cut in their mouth to make it wider. You watch as he looks at you, Villain, dead in the face, and pulls down his jaw, extending it further than it should do, and just begins hissing and gargling towards you, which is quite off-putting. to...
No shit.
Oh, he displays it to anyone, to any target it can see within 15 feet. So this will also hit Honor. So if both Honor and Villain can make a wisdom saving throw for me.
Wisdom. Okay. That is my weakest stat.
This is a very grotesque scene on...
I got a 7.
All right. The DC was 13.
Vomit profusely.
So both of you are now considered frightened of this particular ganger until the end of its next turn.
Okay.
So the frightened condition...
I remember right... Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. A frightened creature has disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls while the source of its fear is within line of sight. The creature can't willingly move closer to the source of its fear. So this guy has just unexpectedly, this human, or supposedly human, has just displayed this grotesque form as they have just opened up their jaw, almost like a snake, revealing bones and muscle tissue, and just this weird modified tongue that they have split in half. Makes you almost want to gag. It's so off-putting. It's so unexpected. That is... So he's then going to... Does he stay in combat or does he move? So that was an action for him. He will... I think he's going to stay put. He'll stay put.
Cool.
Alright. Cool. So, that was his turn. Now we have the Dregs. Okay, so... The one who is no longer being held by a ganger is going to shamble forward. Currently... I'd probably say there's 2 people that it could go between. So I'm going to roll a dice here.
Yeah, I did try to position myself to the opposite side, so I should be...
Yes.
There should be at least the
I guess at that point he will just go for the first thing he sees, which the first thing in his way would be the guy... Actually, you got in front of the guy with the pole arm, and that guy is now dead.
But then the other guy came up too, right? The guy who's currently entangled. He's
Yes.
also in melee.
Yeah. So this Dreg is the one that is on the side of the people that you've killed, essentially.
Yeah.
So I will say he is in line to hit either of you. So I'm gonna roll a d20. Odds will be villain. Even will be the ganger.
Cool.
It is even. All right. So he is going to pounce at the at the ganger. So this guy. So this is the one with the torch. So the Dreg is going to. Unless, if someone wants, they can roll on behalf of the Dreg. If someone wants to roll a d20 for me. So this will be 2 attacks. We'll do a claw and a bite.
Let's let Bill do it because he hasn't really attacked
Yeah,
much
Bill,
yet.
you kind of had a bit of a dud turn.
Yeah. Okay. First roll is 15.
Okay, 15. Yep, that will definitely hit. And then the second one,
Second roll was a 12.
12. That will also hit. All right. So I'll let you roll the damage die. So this will be 1 claw attack and 1 bite. So the claw attack is a d6.
6. That's a 1.
All right. And then the bite attack is 1d10 plus 1d8 poison.
1d10 plus 1d8. That's a 15.
15. Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
I rolled an 8 on the d8 and a 7 on the d10.
Wow, that's good.
Damn.
All right, so you guys watch as this Dreg, which is no longer bound, it still has a chain on it and a shackle around its neck, but it's no longer bound to the control of a ganger, pounces on the guy with the torch and begins gnawing feverishly on his arm as he's just tried to intimidate everyone here, and immediately that illusion is almost broken by him wailing as this creature is biting down extremely hard onto his arm, and he's screaming for dear life. You see the torch that he's holding is kind of flailing around as he's trying to smack this thing with this torch. All right, that's Dreg's turn. The next one is... I mean, he is still held by a chain, but the thing is the chain can go loose. And the guy holding it is currently restrained, so he can't really move to keep this thing at bay. So this Dreg's also going to move forward. The closest people to it would be 2 gangers again, so they're going to get attacked. So the guy with the torch is going to be even. The guy with the short sword that's entangled is going to be odds. So that's going to be... Okay, so the guy that's entangled is going to get hit by this Dreg. Bill, did you want to roll for these Dregs as well?
This one's going to have it.
It'll have advantage.
This one's going to have advantage, yeah.
Yep.
Oh god, okay. So we'll do the first attack with advantage. The higher of the 2 was 4.
Oh,
4 into 3.
that is a miss. And then the second attack.
Okay. Second attack, is that also with advantage or just?
Yes. This guy is restrained.
Yeah. Nat 20.
Oh, that's the one you want to do. So this will immediately be 18 points of damage, and then roll a d10 and a d8.
D10, D8. Okay. So 18 plus 4. That was an 8 and a 9, so that's another 17.
Wow. Okay.
Jeez.
35.
If you wish, you may describe how this Dreg completely tears to shreds this this guy that's entangled in chains. If you want.
Okay, so the guy in chains looks to the side, sees his friend who's just screaming in agony because this Dreg is gnawing at him. He like pivots to the other Dreg, who at that moment where he's turned, the Dreg has pounced directly onto him and is perched like on the front of his shoulders, and is just like basically kneeling on his shoulders and just tearing into the top of his head.
Oh, brilliant.
It's
like ripping off. Yeah, like ripping off like from his neck, like the back of his head, and just keeps going.
Wow.
And eventually just his head falls over like a dodgeball, just bounces on the floor away.
You just hear, all of you hear this before it cuts out as this man's head is now removed from his body as this Dreg has just torn him to shreds. This Dreg got a really good hold on him, especially because he's been just wrapped up by these chains, and falls to the floor dead. So that guy is no longer around to take the piercing damage at the start of his turn.
No, he's dead.
All right. So that is that. So now we go back to the top of the round. This will be villain.
All right. Okay, so I'm now standing next to a Dreg who just mutilated this dude.
And a guy that's being bitten by a Dreg at the moment.
And there's another dude. But I can't move towards him because I'm afraid of him.
You are right next to him already, so.
Okay.
I would say the Dreg that's biting this man's arm is not frightened anymore.
The Dreg was never frightened. They're immune to this effect.
It was just me and Cal.
Yeah. The unfortunate part is that because he's in eyesight, I have disadvantage when I attack. Is it anything or just him?
I believe it's anything. So you have disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls while the source of fear is within line of sight.
So, okay. So I could either attack him or the other Dreg.
Yes.
Which I'm probably going to attack.
You could attack, I guess, any of the Dregs at this point, because they are kind of flanking the guy that's being attacked.
I'm probably just going to attack the other Dreg. I have disadvantage, but then I also have advantage because the Dreg hasn't taken a turn yet in combat, so I assume that just kind of cancels out and I don't have...
This one did take a turn in combat. It killed the guy that was wrapped up.
But did it take before me, or does that only count at the top of the... Does it count per round is what I'm trying to get at? Or is
I think it's just once per battle, like if they haven't taken a round.
Okay, like if they haven't taken a round period, or is it like per round?
It's holding counter, yeah.
So this is assassinate. What is this under?
If you could assassinate
hasn't taken a
every
turn in the combat yet, so
yeah.
So it's basically whenever you take things by surprise. Yep. So you could still get So you will get advantage and disadvantage because
Oh, that's true, because I could flank him. I
'Cause
can move it so that...
Bill is actually within
Yeah.
5 feet of whatever you're attacking.
Yeah, that's true.
On, I should say.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so yeah, I will attack the Dreg that is not currently attacking the other guy.
Sure. Go for it.
I'll attack...
So this will just be straight roll.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm trying to decide if I want to attack with both things. Yeah, I'm going to attack with both things. So, okay, so here's my first attack.
Sure.
That is a 14 plus 9, so that's a... I assume
We'll definitely hit.
it's a decently high roll. Cool. So I'll roll the damage for that one first, and then
See what happens. Yep.
move from there. So it's going to be... Let's pull up my character again.
Actually,
1d6,
just double check.
1d4 plus 6, and then another 1d4. So here's the first 1d4. That is a 10 plus the shadow damage plus 1. So that's 11 for the first attack.
Sure. Let me just want to double check whether or not it was specifically advantage that you get for your teammate being near the target, or if that's only to trigger sneak attack.
I think I think it would be under flanking, which I do think gives advantage.
Yeah, so in this regard, it's kind of hard because we don't have a battle map up, but
Yeah.
Bill would not be directly opposite you
Mhm.
in this scenario. He'd be slightly off to the side. So if I look at sneak attack... So I'd say actually you'd probably still have disadvantage on that attack, but if you do hit, you will have... If another enemy of the target is within 5 feet of it. Ah, okay. Good thing to note as well. This doesn't specifically require an ally to be within 5 feet of your target. It just says an enemy of the target. And at the moment, the Dregs are enemies of the Gangers and vice versa. So you'll get sneak attack, but I think you will have disadvantage. So if you want to re-roll, I'm sure you'll probably hit this Dreg for the disadvantage.
So wait, how do I have sneak attack and disadvantage? Because sneak attack gives me... I get sneak attack on targets that I have advantage on.
Or targets that are within 5 feet of an enemy.
Oh,
of it.
okay.
So yeah, it's weird wording. So you'll still technically have disadvantage at this point, but I mean this thing has very low armor class, just to make sure.
Okay. Well, I rolled a 7 on the second plus 9, so
Yeah.
16.
You've definitely hit.
Okay.
Cool. All right, so
Okay,
that was 11
so-
points of damage to that
So
Dreg.
that was 11 points without the sneak attack. So if I got the sneak attack as well, that's another 3d6.
So it was 1 point of, is it necrotic that your blade does?
So I did 10 base plus 1 necrotic, so 11.
Okay. I can't
that.
half
And
one.
Yeah.
So it's still 11.
Okay.
Cool.
And then the sneak attack for that is pretty low, actually. 6.
6.
3, a 2, and a 1.
All right, this Dreg is looking somehow worse for wear. I don't know how a Dreg can be worse for wear than it already is, but it is. It is beginning to sort of stumble as it tries to sort of make itself stand, I guess, more fully upright after the attack.
All right. I will try to stab it again with a second offhand attack, so I will not get the damage modifier nor the sneak attack, but...
It'll still be at disadvantage as well, this one, but
Yep.
they have a
Yep,
very
I'm gonna
low armor
re-roll.
class, so...
Rolling 2. Yeah, I mean, I have plus 9 to attack, so... Even if I roll poorly. So I rolled a 19 and a 7 again, so the 7 is another 16.
Yep.
Right, cool. And then
So
I'll
that definitely
roll... so I don't get the damage bonus, so I'm just going to roll 2d4, and that's just going to be the total damage, so 5. And then the 2 was necrotic. I rolled a 2 for necrotic.
Alright, that is still enough. So, as you slice into the Dreg, it begins to collapse in on itself, seemingly unable to hold its form anymore as it falls to the ground on top of the guy it just killed. So that
Yeah,
Dreg is
I
gone.
imagine, like, the thing is, like, clawing at the dude, and then Villain will, like, quickly whip around to the back of it while it's still, like, down clawing, and she's just going to stab into its back with both daggers and just,
and just
like,
pull
claw.
down. Yep. Easy.
Fantastic.
And
Yeah.
And that's gonna be my turn. I still have a reaction, but I'll save that for later.
Reaction and a movement if you want.
I'm still pretty close to like everything, right?
Yeah, you're pretty much right next to both the Dreg that's attacking the guy and the guy.
Cool. I am just going to stay where I am, I guess, then.
All right. Easy.
I mean, I can't move. I can't move towards the guy anyway, so I can't move past him because of the fear. So
Yes.
I can only move away, and I don't really want to move away, so I'll just stay.
All right. Next up is Azra. There is a single guy left holding a torch and a Dreg that is gnawing on his arm.
Cool. I'm going to take out my sword and vault over the box
All
into
right,
melee
let's go.
combat.
Ew.
Hell yeah.
So I'm going to draw the sword out of the back, which I'm assuming this should be okay at
Yep.
this point.
Yeah, if you're
And then
doing it as part of an attack, that's completely fine. Yep.
Yeah, so I'm going to use a movement to just vault over the box and then go into the center where I'm assuming everybody is at the moment. And I'm going to use another spell, which is flavorfully themed around the sword that I have. So the sword is basically a Metrix-esque sword which has steam capabilities. So I'm going to be using a spell called Searing Smite. So this is basically, it says, the next time you hit a creature with a melee attack during the spell's duration, the weapon flares with white-hot intensity and deals an extra 1d6 fire damage and could potentially cause it to ignite in flames. So I'm going to use that.
Cool. All right. So as you charge forward, you all hear this hissing noise from this blade that Azra draws out. As you see jets of steam begin to pour out along the surface of the blade, almost shrouding it in a white smoke.
Absolutely. And yeah, I'm going to be running towards the. I'm going to take a swing at the bloke who has the Dreg attacking him still.
Sure.
I'm going to take a downward swing at this bloke. So that is 19 plus 6, so 25 to hit.
That'll definitely hit.
So that's a hit there. And then a D10 plus 3. So 5 plus 3 is 8 plus the 1d6 of fire damage, which is 6. So 8 plus 6. So 8 damage and then 6 fire damage on top.
All right. That is just enough to kill this man. How would you like to finish him off?
Oh, fantastic. Lovely. Yep, so obviously I've drew the blade, I've vaulted over the box, and as you say, charged towards him with white-hot intensity, steam coming off. And then it's just, it's a double-handed sword, but it's got versatility, so I can wield it with 2 hands. And then I'm just going to basically do like a Final Fantasy VII jump up in the air and braver, which is Cloud's first limit break, which basically just cuts him in half, and obviously the fire will burn through his corpse as well at the same time.
All right, so you guys see Azra, I should say, not Az. It'd be weird if Az was in there, right?
Yeah.
You see Azra dash forward, take a giant leap through the air, and comes crashing down on top of this man. You see as he's flailing with this Dreg, and next thing you know, the blade slams down, cutting right through his skull, jamming into his torso as he begins to keel over. You hear this hiss of steam as the blade retracts, and he falls onto the ground with the Dreg almost falling down with him as it was kind of latched onto him a bit.
Yeah.
All right.
Interesting.
Cool.
Lovely.
Lovely old job.
Lovely old job.
So, anything else on your turn? So that was your action.
That's what I say as he collapsed to the floor, just like, lovely old job, staring at his corpse.
All right. So that is, I'm assuming, the end of your turn. So that was an action, bonus action. You did do some movement. I'd say you've probably got maybe like 5 feet left of movement.
No, yeah, that's it. I'll just be standing there.
Sure.
With a Dreg.
Alrighty.
Near me.
Next up, can't be the torch guy because he is dead. So it would be Honor.
Okay. Well, there's only one thing left. It's just the remaining Dreg, right?
Yes. Who has just had a very tasty snack.
Well, I'm going to attempt to hit it with a cantrip, Sacred Flame.
Ooh.
So it has to make a DC 13 Dex saving throw, or take 2d8 radiant damage.
All right. They are not very dexterous. All right. Let's re-roll this. So dexterity save. Oh, Google. There we go. Even with a -1, he gets 11, which means he fails.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So he takes 2d8, which is 11 radiant damage.
11 radiant
Awesome.
damage. And how would you describe this sacred flame? Is it bright and white or yellow, or is it?
It's a very interesting type of flame. It just sort of descends onto this guy, and it has like white, like the afterglow of it is white, but the core of it is almost like it's like a dark purple or almost black.
Nice.
So it's sort of like a white and black flame that just sort of flickers and engulfs it.
I'm just thinking of the what are they called? The black flame sorceries from the Soul series.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm just like, whoa, what
So-
is this sacred flame?
So you watch as this dreg, which is just sort of standing there, begins as it's beginning to burn up. It's weird. The flame itself doesn't feel hot to you guys. If anything, it almost feels cold. But this dreg definitely seems to be burning.
Yeah.
All right.
Greg has a different opinion.
You do have a bonus action and movement, if you'd like to use it.
I should probably. Let's see. Okay, hang on. I want to move closer to it. I don't know how far away I am from it. because,
At this point, you would be 10 feet.
Okay. Yeah. So I want to move closer to it, and trying to decide what I want to do as a bonus action. I think I can just probably ready something.
So it does take an action to ready something.
True, that's
So,
true.
but if
Okay.
you have a bonus action, you can use that. If it is a spell, it can be up to level 2. I'm trying to remember the rules that I play by. There was like a
There's
house
some-
rule.
I know there are. I mean, in the official rules, there's some spells that can be bonus actions, but it's like specific ones. I don't remember which ones exactly.
Yeah, I'm also thinking about the level of spell. If you cast more than one spell per turn, regardless of the actions that they take, there's like a limit to what you can do. It's like a cantrip,
I thought
and
you
something
can
up to
do-
like,
Yeah, cantrip plus like a normal spell. Yeah.
yeah, it has to
Oh,
be
and
like
healing
3rd
word
or
as a
lower
bonus
level
action.
if you want to do an additional spell, which your cantrip
Okay.
would have covered.
Yeah. I'm just trying to see. The only spells that I have prepped that are bonus actions are Healing Word and Shield of Faith, which at this point in the fight probably isn't necessary.
Villain could use a healing word. Just saying.
I guess that's true. Yeah. I might as well.
I have taken
Okay.
about 25% of my maximum health.
Yeah, you know what? I might as well. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna turn to Villain, and it's within 60 feet of me, so Villain is definitely within 60 feet.
Yep, for sure.
And I'm gonna use Healing Word to restore 1d4 plus my spellcasting mod,
Alrighty.
which
I was gonna say
spellcasting mod.
she is currently covered in blood, but it's hard to tell which blood is her blood and which blood is the blood of the guy she decapitated or the other.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, is my spellcasting mod my charisma? I think it is.
Wisdom.
It's my wisdom. Okay.
Yes.
So I got a +2, so it's 1d4 plus 2, which is 6 total.
Sheesh.
Oh,
Alright,
let's
let's go.
Yeah,
I have sweet. Now I've only taken 5. That's much better.
boom.
Awesome.
That's another first level slot down.
Sweet.
But yeah, that's it for me.
Alright. After that, it is now the Dregs' turn. So at this point, it's going to go for the closest person, which in this scenario would be Villain. So it's going to make a claw attack and a bite attack against you. Let's roll here. So the first one, man, I've been rolling bad for these guys. 7 to hit, which will not hit, I'm assuming.
Nope.
And then the bite attack. Oh, the bite attack is always so much better. 19.
Oh, why? Nice. Yeah, that hits.
All right. So this is.
I'm gonna use my reaction. I'm gonna uncanny dodge to take half damage from that.
That will be good, because this is a particularly nasty attack, at least that you've seen. When they've bitten the other guys, they were definitely not happy about it. So a D10. So that's 6 points of piercing damage. And then 5 points of poison damage. So that will be 11 total.
Ow. Okay.
Ooh.
These guys aren't particularly hardy, but...
I will. I will need more in the future.
Yeah, I got
Nasty boy.
Oh, I totally could have had them do something else. That's fine. I made my attack. There was something else that would have been quite fun. But anyway. That will be... that. Yeah, he's just going to swing, and that will be it. Alright, so next up in order would be Villain at this point.
Villain's going to mutter under her breath, fucking Dreg. And then I'm going to... Since the dude is now dead, right? The big dude who was like scaring me.
Yeah, so you're no longer
he's dead.
scared or anything. He's long gone.
Okay, is anyone else within 5 feet of the Dreg?
No. Oh,
No, I'm there, aren't I?
no. So Azra would be 10 feet away, because he would have stood next to the guy that he's just killed, and then the Dreg was like the next square up.
Bill moved closer, but is he still not 5 feet?
He would be 10 feet as well. So you're the closest at the moment, hence why the Dreg went for you.
Okay. I wasn't sure how close Bill was because he moved a little bit. Okay. Let's see. So
did you Bill, Honor, did you move up next to the Dreg? I don't remember.
I think I was going to, but I wasn't able to ready because I was just gonna ready to like block it basically, but because I couldn't. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Well, I'm just gonna attack it with twice then, with no additional buffs or anything.
This one is damaged already, so.
Yeah. First attack. That's a nat 20. I'm not even lying. That's
the only way for you to actually miss this guy is if you roll a natural 1, because his armor class is 9.
Wow.
So
just flesh. That's it.
So the first
Flesh and
attack,
blood.
First attack is a crit. Not a sneak attack, but it is a crit. So the way you're doing crits is you max out the normal dice. And then
max out the die and then re-roll an add on top. That way you're not rolling like 2 1s or something.
Okay, so the max die is 14. So it'll be 14, and then I'll roll again. 14, that's bad. I rolled doubled 1, so 14 plus 8 is the
14
crit.
plus 8. That is more than enough. How would you like to finish off this last Dreg?
Oh yeah, well it just bit me, and I'm gonna assume that it's like still got its face clamped to
probably,
like Dylan's arm, probably on like
the arm guard.
And so what she's gonna do with the crit is she's just gonna take her other dagger and then jam it as far as she can into its eye socket.
Oh,
like all the way up to like the hilt and maybe a little bit into the fingers, and she's just gonna jab it and then just twist, and like you just see this look of like anger on her face because this dude just hit her for like 16 damage.
So normally, a villain has experience with bone and how tough it is to get through. Surprisingly for the face of this Dreg, it is like a hot knife through butter, as you jam with very precise strike straight through the forehead of this Dreg, who was at this point kind of making animalistic noises but goes silent before slouching, and you feel the weight of the Dreg begin to push down onto your arm as you shake it off you, and it falls to the ground dead.
I think she'll take the dagger. As she pulls it out, she'll take the dagger and put it underneath its teeth and just like pop it off. Yeah.
Nice.
And then she's gonna, if there's no more enemies, I think she's gonna walk over to one of the corpses and then wipe the blood off of the daggers on one of the corpses, like cloth, just on like their back or something, before putting them away.
Alrighty, there you go. That is the end of combat. Well done, guys.
Ooh, that was made it out alive.
Damn.
I tanked that.
Yeah. You got a very good first strike off, but you ended up in the pack from that.
Well, yeah,
so,
that's what happens.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
first immediate murk.
I fully expected
just
that combat to go that
melted.
way, where you guys were going to hide and then villain was going to pounce and just murder someone right off the bat.
Yeah,
All right.
I mean, double auto crit is pretty good. It's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. So, that is the end of combat. Everything falls silent, except the torch that was dropped on the ground is still lit, and you hear the gentle lick of flames across the rocky cavern floor. The bit of canvas that was over the lantern had been picked up and then subsequently dropped and has fallen to the side, so the lantern is also illuminating at its normal brightness level that it was before.
Just dead bodies everywhere.
Dead bodies.
I would like to check the bodies. Do they contain anything of interest? Or is it just like junk?
Yeah, whoever would like to search the bodies, roll an investigation check for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna investigate to see if they have any keys or notes.
Yeah.
I'm just
Stuff
looking
of
for
that
cash.
Unfortunately, villain's more of a stabby rogue and less of a looky rogue, so we'll see. We'll see. That's not that bad. 14. 12 plus 2.
5.
14, 5.
What is it? Sorry, what's the
Investigation.
modifier?
So this will be intelligence plus proficiency if you've got it.
Just 10 for me then.
Okay. Having a look over the bodies, Honor, you are quite disturbed at the sight. You haven't seen too much bloodshed in your time, but this is quite a lot, quite extreme as well, as 2 people have had their head essentially completely removed, almost completely. The others have had it pierced in some regard, and there are these 2 dregs which are lying even more lifeless than they were before on the ground. Azra and Villain searching through the gangers. On the one that you killed initially, Villain, you do find a key.
Ooh.
And on the one that was closest to Honor, that got the dreg that pounced on them, Azra, you also find a key.
What are the keys?
They are very simple black keys. They just have a simple loop, metal loop with a bit sticking out, and then 2 notches, I guess you'd call them, or teeth to the key.
If we compare the 2 keys, are they different? Does it look like they open different things?
They look like they open different things, but they are of the same design.
Okay, cool.
You do also find a couple of copper pieces. You find some rations as well, which is some dried meats. You find a bit of cheese.
Ooh!
Ooh, cheese.
Keys.
And you find a couple
Azra
of
does like cheese.
a couple of daggers. There was a dagger on the guy with the torch, and there was a dagger on the guy with the pole arm as well.
Dylan will let Azra take the money, and I would like to inspect the daggers. What do they look like? Just plain daggers?
They're very plain daggers. A bit, sort of, a little bit makeshift in design, but still looks like it's had some thought put into it. Very basic standard daggers. Azra, you find a total of 12 copper pieces.
Fantastic. Awesome. I'm also going to roll an investigation check to check what type of cheese it is as well.
Sure. Roll a... What type of check would you do for cheese?
Roll. Is there a
Cheese
check?
checking.
Cheese
You can
check.
do. Let me look. Investigation to investigate the cheese.
Maybe nature or something.
History to see the history of the cheese.
History of the cheese.
I would probably say it's just
Medicine?
investigation at this point.
Yeah.
Or maybe
Alright.
even perception if you were to, like, taste it or sniff it.
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea.
Animal handling
Perceiving it in some
to see
way.
what kind of animal made the cheese.
Oh, I got a natural 20. I know what this cheese is just by
Oh.
smelling it.
Okay. This
You've
is
had this cheese before.
this
Oh, yeah.
is a very classic form of cheese that is very hearty and has like a crust of the type of mold that cheeses get, that people allow cheeses to get. I don't know what
yeah.
you'd call it exactly, but it's like a cheese, like
rind,
mold crust,
yeah.
a rind, if you will. Yep.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
What's this picture
Awesome.
that you've said to the chat? I need to look at this. I don't
It's-
want to open my window because then it will move the webcam.
Yeah.
It's Wallace and Gromit, like ex Wensleydale cheese.
Oh, lovely.
There you
That
go.
is
It's Wensleydale.
That's what I found in the pocket, Wensleydale.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
that's what you guys
Cool.
find so far.
Awesome.
Hell yeah.
What do you?
This is what it looks. This is what it looks like too. Hold on. Hold on.
Yeah.
There you
There we
go.
Yeah.
There you
The
go.
boys.
Perfect.
Ezra's like, oh hell yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. Love myself a bit of Wallace and Gromit and Wensleydale.
The other rations that you find are just a couple pieces of jerky of some meat of unknown origin.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Villain's gonna ignore all that stuff. He's just gonna take the key. It's just like, nope. I'll take the key.
All right. What would you guys like to do from here?
So I'm gonna go up to Anna and inquire upon his healing abilities and be like, hey,
Yeah.
how much more can you do that?
I do have. Let's see. My healing. The only healing that I have is a first level spell, and I have 2 slots left.
You
But I
could
could
use
do it
high level.
twice. Yeah, I guess I could, right?
Yeah, if you really want.
Yeah, let's see.
Speaking out of game, Villain has taken 16 damage now, not including what you've already healed. But she's looking. Yeah, she's got some cuts and wounds, and her arm that the dreg was on is like not looking great. So she's gonna
Let's see.
ask.
I also do
she's
have
gonna-
cure. I have
she's-
cure wounds as well.
Oh,
Mm.
Villain does not know that, but she's gonna ask the guy who literally just healed her, and she's gonna ask in a very polite way, almost in a way that, if you're familiar with like nobility at all, it's gonna be a very polite request. She's just gonna be like,
Okay. Yeah, because you ask so nicely, I'll cast a 2nd level healing word.
Oh.
So it'll be 1d4, or sorry, 2d4 plus 2.
Ooh,
Now,
that
I will say as well, it's up to you guys. If you do decide to take a short rest, which takes an hour, you can use your hit dice to recover health. So it's up to you if you want to do that. It depends if you feel like you're going to get into combat. You know,
It
or-
might not be good to take a rest in the middle of the tunnel, though.
You can.
completely up to you
heal
guys, yeah.
9 hit points.
9. Wow.
Okay, I'll take it. I'll still have taken 7, but I think we can work with that. We can probably get through another combat with that. Cool.
And then
Awesome.
that'll be-
Yeah, she's just gonna say, "I appreciate that, weird box man." And then,
Weird box.
I'll just.
Yeah.
I'll salute her, and I don't know why I did that.
yeah,
All right. So,
you
With
have
the-
earned Villain's appreciation.
with the still flickering on or lit torch that is on the ground and the light of the lantern as well, what do you guys wish to do? What is your next move?
Well, let's go pick up the lantern. So Villain's gonna pick up the lantern, and ask Azra and Anna if we should go the direction that they were coming from, or if we want to go the other direction, because we now have a choice of what direction we want to go.
I guess that's interesting because we saw them on the shore, and then we saw them coming through that tunnel that they were coming through.
Now,
So
you did see different amounts from what you saw on the shore to these guys here. So whether or not they're the same group, it's hard to tell. They might have swapped numbers, but yeah, you definitely didn't get like a close enough look at the ones on the shore to determine whether or not these are the same.
So,
Yeah.
and our mission doesn't have to do with the gangers. We need to get into Southmaw, or Southpaw, so we need to probably avoid them if we can. So villain's vote is going to be, with that said, the other tunnel.
Yeah, I'm happy to go with that. I don't want to be going in the direction of where the gangers are emerging from, trying to avoid them as much as possible. So I'm up for going that way as well.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. They're probably going somewhere, so it would make sense to go to where they were going.
Yeah.
Yeah, they feel kind of like a patrol. We should also move their bodies, not necessarily hide them, but let's just lump them all into like a big pile behind the tent or something. Kind of just
shove them in the tent.
Yeah. Get in the tent.
It's gonna be a running joke now. Get in the tent.
Get in the tent.
Just so it's like not super obvious to passerby who aren't paying attention. Put them off into the shadow somewhere, and so people couldn't find them unless they were specifically, digging through behind the tent or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. If you guys wish to do that, you can take a couple minutes to pull these bodies aside.
Yeah.
So you spend the time, clear up the scene as best as you can. There is a bunch of blood on the floor and ichor. But you're hoping that will be overlooked should anyone pass through.
Yeah, it's a cave.
It's the pits. I don't know. People bleed a lot down here.
Yeah. Just flesh and blood. Hey.
He said it. All right, so you go ahead, put the bodies to the side. The lit torch, are you just letting it burn out, I'm assuming, or are you putting it out on purpose?
I'll grab a torch. I have a little chainmail pouch that's sort of attached to my belt that I'm gonna put my box into for now, and have it sort of still on my person but on my hip instead, so that I can just carry a torch.
Yeah.
All right. And you still have your lantern as well, if you wish to take that as well.
Yeah.
I think.
They'll take the lantern.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you guys are going to, I'm assuming, head out and go the left path, so the path that the gangers did not arrive through.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. So, as you guys head into the left tunnel, the tunnel begins to curve upwards at a slight angle as you continue forward. The slight breeze you felt at your back now becomes stronger, the temperature decreasing. After walking for... Are you guys walking at a normal pace, I should ask, or are you stealthing? Or checking for traps?
Well, after the last encounter, I think Villain would be... It's tricky because she can be very, very stealthy, but she doesn't know how sneaky her allies can be. So if she's walking close to them, she will be quiet, but not so much as to impede the movement. But if she is ahead of them a little bit, kind of scouting, then she'll be very sneaky.
Okay.
So depends on how you guys want to approach this. If you want Villain to scout ahead a little bit, it also depends on how dark it is as well. It's still pitch black, right?
You've got your lantern and a lit torch, so it's a little bit brighter than what you were previously traveling with.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, if Villain was, say, 20, 30 feet ahead with no lantern, would it be pitch black?
It would be, yep.
Okay.
It'd be very hard to see.
I'm not sure if there's much of an advantage to doing that. So then I think she'll just stick with the group.
Okay.
Here.
No worries. So, after walking for 10, 20, 30 minutes, you begin to see glimmers of light on the rocky walls that surround you. The end of the tunnel comes into view, a low ambient light guiding you towards an exit. As you break into the open air of a new, much larger cavern, you now see a glimpse of your destination before you. The cavern ceiling is hundreds of feet high, faint rays of sunlight reflecting their way down through cracks in the surface of the world above. The cavern proper is even larger, perhaps thousands of feet long. But the biggest sight to see here is much more prominent. A large, sprawling, ramshackled shantytown of houses engulfs the majority of this area, creating a winding complex of streets and alleyways in indiscernible patterns, that's what I was trying to say, along the edges of a large lake. Metal pipes jut out from the side of the town, noxious liquid spewing forth into the waters below. Flickers of lantern light dot the buildings and windows, the occasional figure moving through the crowded buildings. All of this surrounds a central, large building built into the side of the cavern. A tall wall with multiple guard towers and spotlights outlining its perimeter. Welcome to Southmaw. What would you guys like to first do as you break out into this? It's a bit of a, I guess, like a little overhang above a majority of the town. You can see the vast majority of the cavern. Is there anything you'd like to do before proceeding forward?
Does the map that Greenbird gave us lay out a route into Southmaw?
No. So it has a basic outline of the town, which on it you can see that Southmaw has 3 gates. There is one to the north, to the south, and to the west. So essentially, as you break out into this cavern, from your perspective, you are heading south. The lake is to your right, so it's to the west of Southmaw. So essentially, there's a gate that comes from where the docks would be up to Southmaw, and then there's one on either side. So the north gate is closest to you, and then there would be a south gate on the other side. That's pretty much all the information you have as to Southmaw. There is a bit of a ravine that goes past Southmaw itself on both the north and south side. So to actually go through the north and south gate, the map does show that there is a slight bridge that crosses the gap.
Is there people like going in and out of Southmaw, like just generally speaking, or?
Southmaw's pretty far away from you at the moment. It's maybe like
Okay.
somewhere between 500 and 1,000 feet away. And there is a big shanty town in between. So you can't actually see the gate. You can just see the tops of the towers and spotlights that are just sort of casually scanning the nearby surrounds.
So I think the first thing we should do is we should gather information. Maybe check the shanty town, maybe see if anyone knows any way to get into Southmaw discreetly.
Yeah. Undetected as possible.
I'll be right back.
No worries. Is that the legendary potato that I've heard of?
That is potato.
Definitely. You might even bring her in a minute.
Is there anything in particular that Azra and Honor would like to do as you are just looking out? Is there anything in particular you'd like to scan for in the distance?
You have to be in here with me.
So we can see.
Called it.
It appears Villain has found a stray dog.
A dog.
Which is saying
Potato actually was.
Villain.
Potato actually was a stray.
Oh, okay. There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, she's a rescue.
Yeah. So we should definitely. I want to check the shanty town. But, like, I want to check out the shanty town, but does Anna want to check out the shanty town? I don't think Anna does.
Villain.
I definitely just kind of want to get it over with and be out of this place as soon as possible. But I feel like we can't do that without knowing how to get a good path forward.
So, Villain is going to propose an idea to Anna. Villain, so she's going to say, like, essentially that we need to get information, and I'm going to suggest that Anna, you can follow along if you'd like, but Azra and I have a feel of the pits, and it may be quicker for us to go retrieve information from the town below. I don't want to leave you here, though, so...
Yeah, if you say
follow
so, yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
you bet.
Is
So,
there any like organizations or characters or anything that we might know of that are in this shanty town, or is it just?
Oh, that's a good question. What do we actually know about the shantytown? Like,
Yeah.
as denizens of the pits, what do we know about this?
So the shantytown relies heavily on Southmaw to survive. So the citizens of this town are aligned, whether willingly or just due to survival needs. They are aligned with Southmaw, and keeping Southmaw happy means they live. Because at any moment, any displeasure that they may show towards Southmaw, if they become a problem, they can and will be rounded up and become the new test subjects, because Southmaw always needs more test subjects. So that's what you know specifically. I would say that you probably wouldn't know any specific individuals in this area, but there is a bit of trade that comes through here. Supplies, illegal goods a lot of the time as well, through the small docks that they do have here that connect to the lake.
Does Southmore have any? I guess we probably can't see from here whether it has any entrances via water, or is it just the gates?
So from what you can see, there is no entrances via water. So there's no boats that can go into Southmore. It's essentially almost on like a bit of a hillside, but within the cavern, and so is the shantytown.
Yep.
And then at the bottom of this hill is the lake. So there is a bunch of shantytowns surrounding pretty much every side, minus the back of Southmore, because that is cavern wall, essentially. So there is a central building that you can see of the Southmore Asylum, and then there is a perimeter around it, a big wall. Mostly to stop people from getting out, not so much from getting in, but they don't want people getting in, but yeah, it's mostly to stop people from getting out.
What do we do then, folks? How do we get in here? Is there any like caravans or anything going in and out, like any trade vehicles that we can maybe commandeer under the disguise of a trader?
Roll a perception check for me.
Okay, let's have a look then.
I'm gonna roll 2.
Sure. Anyone that wishes to roll may.
As we discuss and look over the things, because we're kind of like on an overlook, right? We're
A bit of
kind
an
like
overlook,
looking-
yeah.
Yeah.
So
okay.
as you look further,
got
continuing the...
mine.
Okay, as you can see, sort of continuing the path that you are on, it does gradually slope down, and then you would start walking into the top sort of section, the top north, most elevated north section of Southmore from this path.
I rolled an 11.
Okay, 9 and 11.
I got an 11 plus 6 on the thing, so I was 17 on that.
Okay.
Plus 6. Whoa.
This is quite the
Plus 6%.
sprawling... Metropolis probably isn't the best word, but it's the only one that I could think of to describe this shantytown. There is a bunch of movement, mostly from just individuals. You do see a occasional cart that is pulled from the dock area and does seem to lead towards the Southmore sort of adjacent area at the very least. So there does seem to be some carts that are pulled around this town, but whether or not they go directly into Southmore, you're not entirely certain.
And do I know... Does Villain know if there are any spider operatives stationed in the town?
Roll for me a history check.
Okay. Check my history. I don't think it's very high. Let's roll the d20. That was a nat 20.
Wow. This is
Oh,
I should do this more often. Just kind of.
Oh, no, I totally believe you. That's cool.
Yeah, sure. There you go. Nat.
Sheesh.
oh.
All right. Nat 20. The spider has operated in and around Southmaw before. As to whether or not there is currently an operative here, you're not entirely certain. But there is definitely a possibility that there would be some sort of operative here. Whether or not they would specifically help you getting into Southmaw is up to the individual. But it is definitely a route that you could try and pursue to see if there is a spider operative here. If they are here, they would probably be fairly elusive and hard to find, but you are a spider operative yourself, so...
Yeah, I assume, like, there might be signs here or there that would give me indications, like, subtle markings or something like that.
Possibly. Thieves can't. That sort of thing.
Exactly.
Is there any? Can we? So how do we? So we can literally just walk into these shanty towns. We can just walk in if we wanted to.
Yeah, so the path does lead into the shanty town, but you are like elevated. Think of it a little bit like Brazilian favelas, where it's like on a hillside and it's like gradual houses that sort of go down, as you will. So.
Gotcha. So I think our plan, I guess, should be to go into the town and see if we can find any information, whether it be from potential contacts that I might have, or maybe there's just some individuals who have it out for the asylum that, just reside here.
Possibly.
I'm just thinking of Honor and his Solanian armor walking through the shanty town.
Maybe we should get him like a poncho or something and just throw it over him. Yeah.
All right.
Just a big mustache.
As you as a group deliberate on your next steps, making your way into the shantytown and eventually Southmaw, we shall call it there for the session, and we'll come back for part 2, which will be quite action-packed. I can guarantee that. So,
baby,
stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
This is just a taste of what you will receive in the next part.
Hell yeah, that was a lot of fun. So I'm really
excited.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm glad you guys liked it. That's the biggest thing. Just making sure you guys had fun with it, and yeah, there's a lot more that we will be diving into. So a lot more combat probably, unless you try and avoid it. A lot of sneaking, diplomacy. We'll see what happens.
Absolutely.
Sneaking just leads to combat.
Just does, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Leads to absolute vaporization of human beings. 100 plus damage, level 5, 100 plus damage.
Well, the funny thing is I'm not even using like rapiers or any of like the higher damage like dex weapons. No, these are daggers. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Thanks.
Kel does 111 damage, and I used a turn to get up and miss.
You're like, command, and the guy's like, no. And you're like, oh.
If it went through, I was gonna say betray.
Ooh, that's interesting. That would have been fun to play out.
Yeah, it's a good one. Thank you all for watching, listening, being here, and stay tuned for the next episode. We'll post around on socials and everything when that will be. No hard schedule, but soon.
Sooner rather than later.
Definitely.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good one, everybody.
Bye everyone.
Cheers.